Brother B.A. Ben Abraham, and I'm your host of the Man Up segment on Debate Talk For You platform. The objective is for all brothers from different walks of life to come together, link up, and build on matters concerning all various stages of life. If anyone would like to reach out on concepts and ideas, you can reach Brother B.A. at radicalrhyme1984 at gmail.com. Again, radicalrhyme1984 at gmail.com. Tap in. Let's build. Shalom. Shalom.
Don't touch that dial. You're now listening to Debate Talk For You Radio.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? How you guys doing? Welcome to another show. You're now listening to Season 8 of Debate Talk For You Radio. Of course, this is Sal Showtime, and it is Wednesday. You know what that means. It's the brand new segment called Man Up, hosted by Brother B.A. We are here live on Debate Talk For You Radio. We appreciate the family out there that's tuning in via phone and via Skype by dialing that number, 319-527-6239. This segment is for the men to come together and speak about things that's going on within the community. So feel free to call in with your questions, your comments, and enjoy the conversation. I see we have a lot of people on social media checking out the show. If you're in the Facebook group, share it on your personal page. Let people know that Debate Talk For You is live and on the air. We have a little technical difficulties, Blog Talk Radio, but, you know, we here now. So without further ado, let me bring in the special, let's bring in the host of the show first. We got to bring him in all the way from the West Coast. My brother, the new host of the Man Up Show, Brother B.A., welcome to the show.
Yo, what's the word, Sal? Praise the Most High in the name of His Anointed. I'm glad to be here amongst the brothers, and most definitely I'm excited to get into this conversation this evening.
All right, let the family know about this. What's the topic?
Well, brothers and sisters, for those who are listening on the phone line and those who are listening through the internet, the topic of the show is healing while living in a toxic environment. And the reason why I came up with this topic because it's commonly known as men in today's society that we're deemed to be protectors, providers, and heads of a properly functional household. But all too often we as men are not voicing when we are hurt. Even though this doesn't make us any less of a man, but it opens the doors to communication so we can acknowledge toxic environments and hopefully find resolutions or solutions. So I tend to see in society, whether it be social media or in our personal local lives, that men have this type of militant way of thinking that I got to hold my emotions back. I can't share nothing, or I'm less of a man. And men, that's our problem as men, especially black men. We tend to hold in our emotions and not really share how we feel, and then this creates a toxic mind, and it also affects our outside as well, outside of our minds, like our homes, churches, schools, etc., and things of that nature.
All right, it's time to man up, y'all. It's got to man up. We're about to talk about it right now, right here on Debate Talk For You Radio. The number is 319-527-6239. So without further ado, Brother B.A., let's introduce the special guest that's here. My first special guest, I believe this is Brother Rick. Welcome to the show.
Well, thank you. Peace and love, brothers.
What's going on with you, man? Tell the audience about yourself, brother.
Well, my name is Rick. I'm originally from West Texas, but I now reside in Sacramento, California. A brother that's gaining conscious every day, and I love to share knowledge and gain knowledge and strength from any portal that is that's trying to give it out these days. I'm a studier and a learner of the world.
All right, well, we appreciate you being on the Man Up segment right here on Debate Talk For You Radio. It's a beautiful thing. Have a lot of brothers come together and finally speak, especially to the masses out here. Let's go to the next special guest. It's my brother right here, Mikha'el. What's going on, man? How you feeling?
Hey, I'm fantastic. Shalom, Brother Sal. Shalom, grace and peace to the other two brothers, my brother B.A. and the other brother that just called in. I didn't catch your name. Sorry about that. Peace to the panel. I'd just like to say, of course, I have to give all honor and praise to the Elohim of Abraham, Isaac, and Israel, the name of his son, Jesus Christ. So every time that it's a chance that I'm called upon to be able to be on a panel or any type of gathering with brothers who I know are proactive, and not only in their beliefs but in their actions, I think it's an honor, and I'm humbled by the occasion. And I think this is going to be a really good conversation because we got some wise. I seen the list on here, and like we're going to have some wise watchmen up here. So I just say, man, I thank y'all for the opportunity, and I hope we can really bring some clarity, have a good, a good spiritual conversation with strong brothers from Israel, and we just going to keep it 100 funky, man. Let's get it on.
All right, that's my brother. Good. That's my brother Mikha'el from Hebrews in the Hood. Make sure you check out his channel, Hebrews in the Hood. Man, stay in social media, informing the masses of what's going on out here within the community. We appreciate you coming on the platform, man, up right here on Debate Talk Radio. Let's go to the next special guest, though. Yeah. Let's go to the next special guest. Let's go to my brother Zadok. What's going on, Zadok?
Yeah, praise Yahweh, Yahuwah, Yahweh, Yahweh, Yohei, Wahei, Jehovah, and all them.
All right, I hear you, my brother. I hear you, man. So what's been going on with you, bro?
Man, you already know what it is, Sal. I'm chilling, man. My man B.A., you got my man B.A. hosting the show. I had to come on. Like, man, we go back, you know what I mean? So I had to come on and support, and I think the topic is important. I'm familiar with some of the brothers on the panel. A few of them I take seriously because I know of them. And some of the others, prayerfully, I'll get an introduction tonight. And, man, you already know who it is. It's your boy, Zadok Ben Israel, a.k.a. the God Hop MC. Hashtag just the best of nobody special. Senior student in the dojo, supreme kata work, sword play, don't play. Let's get it in for the Lord, man.
All right, B.A., go ahead. You want to say something?
Much love to my big brother first in Christ, and also my teacher, man. Zadok is a brother who I consider to be a sound brother when it comes to expounding and breaking down and dividing the word of the Most High properly. So I'm humbled that my brother has time out of his busy schedule because I know he's traveling, I know he's networking, I know he's doing this thing. So I'm humbled and I appreciate him for spending time with us this evening. Much love to you, my brother.
Oh, man, that's reciprocal, King. No doubt, man. All praise to the Lord. And bless the other brothers on the panel as well.
Yeah, most definitely, man. Everybody knows Zadok has been there from day one, since the beginning of Debate Talk Radio, and still here rocking with us, rocking with the program. So, of course, we appreciate my brother for coming on the Man Up segment right here on Debate Talk Radio. All right, so, Brother B.A., the other brothers, I don't know if they're here. We have a lot of people on the phone lines. So, guys, if you're out there, my brothers, press number 1. You got to press number 1. That's the only way I'm going to know if you're here because we have a lot of people on the phone lines right now. But what I'm going to do, I'm going to try to reach out to them, the rest of the brothers in the background. But I'm going to let you take it away, Brother B.A. Take it away.
Yes, thank you, sir. I appreciate it. And to the brothers on the panel, again, this is about healing in a toxic environment. So the first question I would like to address or bring to the table is, and it goes like this. When we are first aware of living in a toxic environment, who do we normally take the issue up with? And the reason why I ask this is because we at times are aware that we're living in environments that can be toxic to our health, to our relationships, to our families, and to all those who are around us. And sometimes we don't know how to deal with it, or sometimes we don't know who to bring the issue with. So do we bring it to the Most High first, which I'm in favor of, or should we bring it to our wives, our brothers, our sisters, pastors, deacons, various other community activists around us locally? How would we go about how should we go about that and taking our issues, the issue that we're dealing with when it comes to a toxic environment? And let's start off with Brother Rick since he's new to the panel.
Well, thank you. That is a very valid question. But whenever you deal with anything toxic in today's world, we have to first off be able to identify the source of the toxicity. And when you identify the source of the toxicity, then you can further understand and know what you need to do in order to minimize damage and eradicate the toxicity. And as you stated, you have to turn to the Most High because that is your source of strength. You can't fight a battle of toxicity alone because every man is like a tree, and his roots, they span to the people and the things around him. And if it's toxic, you're taking this. So you have to be very careful when dealing with toxicity because you don't want to misdiagnose it and wind up getting worse or basically creating a internal death yourself. So you have to be ready to fight everything that's toxic in your life. But you do that through reaching out to other brothers and grabbing those roots of the other brother and feeding in the good energy from them to maintain your strength levels as well as praying to the Most High. You have to have that relationship with the Most High, and you have to be able to be ready to rid yourself of whatever it is that's toxic in your life. Because we don't understand, a lot of brothers don't understand, and the world don't, but when it comes to toxicity levels and things that are around you, those things kill your spirit. And we have to be very careful of how we deal with those things.
That's your answer, brother?
Yes.
Brother Rick, that's it?
Yes, that's it.
Okay. I'm going to go to the next brother, my man Mikha'el. Man, much love to you, my brother. Go ahead and expound. Share some of that knowledge and wisdom. Straight out of Chicago.
Hey, shalom, brother, shalom. Yeah, I think that is an excellent question, and that's something that we all got to learn because I don't care how long you've been in this word or whatever, especially depending on probably what type of clay you molded from, if you know what I mean, or what cloth you cut from, because, you know, coming from the hood, you know, from the street, it's kind of like what you VA said earlier about, you know, how a lot of brothers is taught, you know, certain reactions as a man can be interpreted as being soft or weak or something like that. And coming up in the hood, you know, we had to be strong. We had to, if you wasn't strong, you had to at least portray that you were strong, or you had to at least act stronger than you really was, you know. And that's why a lot of times we formed these organizations, gangs, whatever you want to call them, because, you know, the numbers, you know what I'm saying? The fact that you're not really that strong, you would probably kind of cancel that out by having somebody who's stronger with you. And so, you know, you see this, man, and it all goes to a lot of our brothers not knowing how to deal with, deal with toxic situations in the right manner. So, I mean, I got to go with the scriptures tell me. I know, like, I believe it's, let me see, Psalms 37. Let me see if it's Psalms 37. It's a nice one up in there. He break that down, and he says, it says, fear not thyself because of evil doers, neither be thou envious against the workers of iniquity, for they shall soon be cut down like the grass and wither as the green herb. But trust in the Lord and do good, and so shalt thou dwell in the land, and verily thou shalt be fed. So, I mean, I take something from that. If you're around people that you know they just wicked, like they just wicked, man. Like I've been in that situation where the whole atmosphere was just draining because it was just such bad spirits in there. You know, other concepts like to say energy, vibration, chakra. Well, we Hebrews, we say the spirit or the ruach. It's just bad spirits sometimes. So the first thing you do is trust in the Lord, like the book say. That's your first counselor. I go to the Most High. He is the mighty counselor. You know what I mean? So you take it to the Most High, because that's your ultimate strength. Ain't nothing more manlier than praying. Now, second behind that, it always got to be some action, because when you pray, the Lord will answer you. He going to show you who the snakes is in the grass. He going to show you what you know, if it's a situation that's you even possible to escape. You know, depending on somebody's living situation, You know, they just might be in a down time in their life. They might be in a dark place, and they might have to rely on people. Like I hear the stories all the time of people who trying to live right. They trying to be good examples. They trying to get back on track. But at this point in time, they not in their own house. They not in their own land. So they have to live with people who don't honor the law, statutes, and commandments of the Most High God. Or even if it's not even from that standpoint, they just might be toxic people. Just toxic people. And so the first thing you got to do, I would advise every man, especially if you have some type of spiritual foundation, I prefer it be the God of Israel, you know. But if you, whatever you believe in, you should always go to your spiritual source first. If you don't trust in your spiritual source, why have it? You might as well be an atheist. And so after that, you know, you have to be proactive, man. And that's where, you know, trust comes in. You have to have people around you that you can trust. You know what I mean? And so I believe those are the first steps as men to deal with a lot of these emotions that a lot of brothers don't know how to deal with. Bad judgment, because they don't know how to shake themselves of negative people. The first thing you have to do is truly, and I know the Sunday Christian church say this a lot. They like to talk about their relationship with God, but I'm gonna say it from a real standpoint. You know what I mean? As a Hebrew, you can't get so technical that you literally don't have a relationship with the Most High. You got a relationship with the Most High and you follow Him. Ain't no way on earth He gonna leave you in a trap. So it starts with the counselor, which is the Most High God, and then you go to those people that you can trust, man. And more than likely, it would be preferably if you could find other brothers, men that you can, you know, that you can emulate or trust, or you know, to a degree like that. So that's what my 2 cents on that one.
Okay, cool, brother. There's some powerful words, man. Just a few notes I took, statement you made. My man Zadok, man. So, hey, straight out of Buffalo, let it be known, my brother. Much love.
First of all praise is due to the Most High God, our Father Yah, and His revealed salvation in the person of who we call Jesus the Christ. You know, when we babies, man, we're nurtured. And as the society has crumbled, especially among an impoverished people like us, but it's not just about Israel. This is something that all the sons of Adam suffer everywhere. This is not ethnic exclusive. When we're babies, man, our children, when they cry, we pay attention to them. When they put their hands out to be held, or, you know, when they smile and they want to play, or when they trying to learn and they repeat after you and they ask you stuff over and over again, you're creating their environment. You're actually, with your response to them, you're shaping the neurons. The neurological paths literally in the flesh of the brain are being shaped by the way that we respond to our children. All of us in here have been shaped by a certain way in our childhood. Some of it could have been negative or positive and could outweigh one or the other depending on what your circumstance was. You know, probably everyone listening and everyone in here. You ever notice how you still as a grown man, you 30, 40 years old, you know you still tie your shoe the way you were shown to tie your shoe when you was 5, 6 years old? I bet. Now, maybe you grew up in the late 80s and early 90s like me, and you learned how to do the checkered square shoestring design in your shell-toe Adidas or something. But other than that, you really tying your shoe the way you've been tying it since you was 5, 6. You've been holding your spoon and your fork, and you sit at the table a certain way, and you deal with dinner a certain way ever since you was 5, 6. You brush your teeth to this day the way that the dentist showed you when you was 5, 6 years old, man. But there's a whole bunch of other things we've brought from childhood, and the number one thing being sin. You know, toxicity is relevant. You know, we don't control our food source on the earth, so, you know, like someone like me, you know, if you want to eat fish because you don't want to eat so much red meat, this, that, and the third, cats try to be vegan, vegetarian, but you still don't control the food source. So even when you want to eat organic, the companies are still using the same assembly lines that all the sprayed chemical fruits and vegetables ran on, and then they throw all the organic stuff on there. If it is organic, we just trust it because, you know, the government told us that's what it was. You eat enough fish, if you eat too much of it, you might have to be wise enough to understand if you eat too much fish out of the waters of the earth these days, you can actually get high mercury levels in your blood or nickel. So you gotta eat regardless. Even though you know what's happening, you still gotta eat fruits, vegetables, the meat you choose to eat. You still gotta do it. So toxicity is unavoidable. I don't think that we're gonna avoid toxicity. We have to learn how to self-evaluate, how to take less of it in, and how to cleanse ourselves. So I want to show something here because, I can't mirror the two brothers any better. Man, we got to go to the Most High. But I approach the Most High through the character and the nature that pleases him, and that is his Son. And when people talk about they approach him through Christ, I'm not talking about some abstract idea of some being somewhere. No, I'm talking about straight up and down through the example and through whatever that divine nature in him was. And the apostles write that we, the body, will also partake of this divine nature. Whatever that divine nature is, we have to approach the Father in that. All of us on here, that we far down that road than some, we further down that road than some others might be. I'm gonna say this, man. When we approach God, yes, maybe we'll get a revelation in a dream. Maybe we'll hear a voice from heaven, and my man standing next to me didn't know God answered me directly in prayer. He thought it was thunder. I heard the Lord. Whatever. Maybe it goes like that, but for most people it don't. So when we done praying, the Most High has done something. Most of us know to pray because he got this big word that he has done over generations through the various scribes and prophets, and we got it here in our hand today. He has magnified his word above all his names. So when I go to the Lord, I don't pray to the Lord and then just wait in absentia. I pray to the Lord and then I open up his word because I want him to show me. I want you to show me, and I'm trusting that where I'm going to open up and the things I'm going to read are going to fill me with instruction. The Bible says that the ways of that the word the ways of righteousness are life. So if I'm toxic with sin, then there's something that I need to understand. How did my master do it? I'm gonna read two texts and I'm gonna shut up for now. In Isaiah 53, this chapter for most is attributed to Jesus Christ. Unless you deny him, you'll explain it another way. But for those who accept and understand Jesus to be the Son of salvation, in Isaiah 53 and verse 3, it says, "He is despised and rejected of men, a man of sorrows and acquainted with grief." This wasn't exclusive to him, but what made him unique is that toxicity that he came into by taking on flesh, he walked into the toxicity of the environment of the children of men. And the environment caused him to be one who felt what it was to be despised. That's toxic to feel despised. To know sorrow and to be acquainted with grief, like the way you're acquainted with somebody you know, like you just know it intimately. That's what an acquaintance is. Jesus basically became just like us. And so in his person we see, oh, so you became full of grief too. You became inundated and bogged down with sorrow too, the toxicity of sorrow. So how do we, like you, make it through? Jesus, he was here for a certain time, but while he was here, he didn't just leave the people. He stayed in the environment that produced the toxicity. So he felt the effects of it, but what was his constant cleansing? Mikha'el said it, and the brother Rick. Yeshua constantly would dip away from people and be in the mountain somewhere praying. His disciples sleep. He up at night. He'll disappear for a day, and he just in communion with the Father, because that, along with the word and along with the dedication to the mission, is our cleanse. And there's one more thing that I want to put on the table too, in our 1 Peter chapter 4. In 1 Peter chapter 4, the apostle Peter, he wrote this. He said, look, he said, verse 7, "But the end of all things is at hand. Be ye therefore sober and watch unto prayer. And above all things, have fervent charity among yourselves, for charity shall cover the multitude of sin." So if we look at sin and the symptoms of it as the true toxicity, then how are we covering it? We got to actually stay among man, and we got to learn how to love. And fervent charity amongst us first as brothers actually helps to start the detox. So brotherly love is underestimated, but there's something else that causes a lot of us to be like, okay, I hear that, but what is that really like? And a lack of true fatherhood for a lot of us in our lives, being rejected of men at young ages, actually develops something in us that we got to get a whole new education in what the toxicity is and what the cleansing agents are. Because the toxicity is going to come back because you're going to stay around imperfect man. The toxicity of the environment will get at you again, and you're still going to have to love. You're still going to have to pray. You're still going to have to be obedient. So the answers are there. And tonight is an example of what I think it takes to start to understand how to get away from it more. Brotherhood. Sisterhood. The secret is there. Prayerfully, the Most High will reveal more.
Yo, Brother Sal. So we got any of the other brothers press the one yet, or is it just the three we got right now?
Yeah, I'm still trying to reach out to them. I'm sending them texts, things of that nature. So I'm still reaching out to them right now. But if you're out there, because we have a lot of callers, just press number 1 in the phone lines. Press number 1, and that lets me know that you're here. But I'm reaching out to them as we speak. You can continue.
All right. And for those who are listening, if you want to call in and ask questions and expound and grow with us, the number is 319-527-6239. Again, 319-527-6239. And, man, those were some powerful answers by all three brothers. And I would say to the next question. So it seems as if when we're in a toxic environment or we're surrounded by a lot of toxicity, it seems that it's the company we keep that plays a big part. And it plays a big part. Either we're going to keep ourselves in it or we're going to pull ourselves out of it. So it seems like the people we keep around us plays a big part. They influence us. So do you think that plays a very big part in how we conduct ourselves as men on a day-to-day walk? And let's start off with Mikha'el.
Oh yeah, most definitely. Man, as a matter of fact, that's one of the most obvious things is our surroundings and the people we keep around us. I like what Brother Zadok was saying. Not to jump off subject, but it all kind of lamb backing together. You know, we Hebrews, we don't piggyback, we lamb back. So, you know, it's you know, you're going to have some level of toxicity, as my brother was saying. You're going to have some level of toxicity. And he brought up a good point, you know, with even
lamb backer.
Yeah, lamb backer, most definitely. And
oh, you have to hear me? Oh, dog, I thought I was muted. My bad, homie.
Oh, yeah.
That was a good one. My bad. I'm a mute.
It's cool. And, you know, he brought up a good point, which, you know, even down to the food. And, you know, the scriptures prophesied and told us, he said, we'll eat defiled bread amongst the Gentiles. And, it's at that point. I mean, you can go buy literally a grass sandwich, and they will find a way to sneak some pork in it. So that's just part of it. And that's kind of like, it's not just a literal thing. If you could look at it on a spiritual and metaphysical side, it's actually showing you that in all your attempts to be upright, you're going to always have the devil right there trying to slide things in to defile you and pollute you. So you got to take that into every aspect of your life, you know, socially, you know, school-wise, economically, everything. It's going to always be somebody trying to set some form of a snare for you, you know, and you don't have to be paranoid about it. That's the thing. When you know you got the power that you get, you don't have to be paranoid with it, but at the same time, the God that we serve will not allow us to be naive. He just won't allow us to be naive, but at the same time, we don't fear. So getting back to what you were saying, your question, you know, with it's concerning other people, and just being, you know, having just the wrong type. And let me say this first. I like to say this first. everybody comes from somewhere. So, you know, you got those friends or those family members that you may have known them from your former life when you lived a certain type of way. You know, everybody wasn't raised in the truth. Most of us wasn't. You know, some of us were fortunate enough to be second, third generation. But, you know, most of us were not born knowing that we were Israelites. So for us, we're going to have some people in our life at one point in time who meant a whole lot to us when y'all was doing them other things. So those some of those people, unfortunately, don't grow out of it. You got people that's, you know, 40-something years old, still on the corner trying to sell 8-balls and stuff, you know, like dime bags, you know. And I'm not talking down on them. We don't know where they we don't know what turns happened in their life for them to still be at that point. And I'm saying that as a person who's done all that, from the little stuff to the somewhat big stuff. And so you have to get to a point where basically you can't be scared to say no. See, people got to learn how to say no. You don't got to be a straight jackbutt, but you got to learn to tell people, nah, fam, I'm cool on that one. You know what I'm saying? That's just not a part of my life right now, those type of things. And when you can learn to tell people no, but still keep your integrity and still be humble and still have that meek and merciful heart, then you're going to be cool. If not, you know, you're gonna have a rough one, especially when you then came up out, you know, those former lifestyles that a lot of us came from. I'm not speaking for y'all, but I'm just speaking from cats like myself. You know what I'm saying? The drug dealing, the playing with guns, the, you know, criminal activity, you know, all those type of things, man. You know what I'm saying? When you turn that leaf over, you got a lot of people that still dear your heart, that they don't see the world the way you do. They still see it in the lenses that they had. And so I mean, you got two options. You can keep them around and risk, you know, falling back to your own vomit. You know, the Lord said, dog return to his vomit. Or you can straight up, I'll say, I won't make it two options. I'll give it more than that. It don't have to be that cut and dry, because you can keep people in your life and keep them from a distance. As a matter of fact, you can make people respect your stance and your way of life. That's the best approach. Now, if they can't respect that, then that's when the cutoff time comes. You know what I'm saying? You know, I love the parable about the plucking out of the eye. You know, it tell you, know, if that right eye offends you, pluck it out. And we know he's not literally talking about get a hot spoon and dig your eyeball out. But the eye is one of the most sensitive parts of the body. You know, you've ever had something just hit your eyeball? It's like, that's terrible. Instant tears form up. So it might be some people in your life that's like that. Like, it'll hurt you to get rid of them, but you will most definitely rather have one eye and make it into the kingdom than, you know, to have both eyes and be cast in a lake of fire. And, you know, I know some people may have a different understanding of that parable, but either way it go, we in hell right now. The majority of us are in hell right now. But the one thing I got to say, without a doubt, about the Most High is that he's fair. He's extremely fair. And once he recognized you as being on his squad, man, he will help you move anything around. It's just the whole thing of, do you believe it? And are you going to be proactive on it? I got a little, I remember this, y'all probably heard this before, but I just like to use it, even though it's kind of corny. It's the analogy of the dude who woke up one morning. He made a somewhat of a vow to God, and he said, you know, God, I want to go on a voyage, and you know, I want to go on a voyage. I want to hit the seas, and I want to see the world. I just ask one thing, that you don't forsake me. And you know, God told him, I won't forsake you. Go ahead. You know, so the dude got on his little boat. He went out there for days or whatever. He just going deep out into the sea. He messed around, you know, hit a glacier from in the water. Boat sprung a leak. Boat sink. He in the water, slapping around. Day one. Day one at shipwreck. You know what I'm saying? Navy boat comes by. Navy boat throw the raft out there. Hey, man, get in. He like, nah, man, my God will never forsake me. I'm straight. Navy boat pull off. Day two, he out there flapping his arms. His arms getting tired now. You get an oil tanker come by. So the little oil tanker boat comes by. Throw the life raft out there, flash the light on him. Hey, man, get in. You're going to drown out there. No. The man tell him, no, you know the most high God got me, man. I'm straight. The Lord won't forsake me. They say, all right. They pull off. Finally, day three. His arms on fire now. You know what I'm saying? He about to drown. He can't take it. Coast Guard pull up. You know the Coast Guard, they only coming to save you. They come out there, throw him a couple of rafts out there. He said, no, I'm okay. God will never forsake me. They said, all right. They pulled off. Well, day four came up. My man arm went limp noodle. He floated to the bottom and he drowned. Well, when he died, a light pump formed up in the water. It was God. And the man said to God, how could you do this to me? You said you would never forsake me. God said, I didn't forsake you, dummy. I sent you 3 boats. So the whole moral to that story is it's good to have faith in all of that, because without faith you can't do nothing. But you have to make moves on certain situations. If you got toxic people in your life and you know they can get you cut off, get rid of them. If you know it's a certain business or something that you ask the Most High to produce for you, you got to walk through that door. You got to take them steps. You know what I'm saying? You got to start building a little form of version of your own, you know what I'm saying, paradise while you here until you can get to the real ultimate paradise. And that's just how I look at life. And I believe if more of our people thought that way, you would actually see it. You would see it in their act. You would see it in their actions. And I think it's Psalms 26:5. It said, I had hated the congregation of the evildoers, and I would not sit with the wicked. So at that point, you got to have that mentality sometimes. I mean, I know you be like, man, we was boys, man. How all of a sudden you going to look at me like I'm wicked? Well, it's not. I'm not necessarily saying that you dropped from hell itself, but the truth of the matter is your behavior is non-productive. And so you just got to have that mentality, Ock. That's just how I look at it. I mean, you can be all loving and good and snuggly with it and all that type of stuff, but at the end of the day, man, we need brothers, man, that's going to lead by example, man, and not worry about what people think about. I mean, learn how to fight. That's all you got to do, learn how to fight. I mean, people always got something to say, hey, learn how to take care of yourself. They'll leave you alone.
Man, thanks, Mikha'el. I appreciate that. Appreciate that, brother. Much love to you. Brother Rick, man, you want to follow up?
Yes, I would love to. Those are some great words, brother. And that's what we really have to be careful of today. We have to be careful of the environment and the company we keep, because those are the things, like I mentioned earlier, that can truly bring us to our knees. The levels of toxicity that we intake, those things, we're going to take some toxicity. That's just the nature of living life in the 21st century, but we have to be very careful about how long we stay in the toxic zone, because that's when we lose our strength and our bearings, and it seems like we become a part of the problem at that point. So if we're going to be the strength for our families, friends, and we're going to have to keep that level head, then we're going to have to make some changes in our lives. We're going to have to know how strong we are. Because some people, like when they're in the Word, when they're in the Bible, or they're reading whatever spiritual material they're in, it's very, very, very important for them to know their strength level, how much toxicity they can deal with. And if they don't know, then, they're looking at possibly becoming a victim themselves. So you have to remain strong, you have to remain valid, and you have to really be a portal of strength in your community. And in Matthew 7 and 8, if I could reference that, it says, it goes and it says, ask, and it shall be given you, seek, and you shall find, knock, and it shall be opened, the door shall be opened unto you. And that's what we have to do. We have to ask for knowledge. We have to ask for help. We have to seek guidance. But the main thing is we have to knock. No doors are opened unless we begin to knock and see that, that's the acknowledgement that we need help. And if we can't acknowledge that we need help, then that's the beginning of the end for us. We have to be very, very, very careful. But in today's world, men, we have to be very strong. We have to have strength. You can be strong and still be sensitive to the needs of our community, our women, our children, and especially in the spiritual realm of the people that we worship with. We have to be very sensitive to all that stuff if we're willing to grab people's hands and bring them along with us and grow together. So those things are very important. But with all with what Brother Mikha'el was just saying, like those former lifestyles, we have to leave those behind. If we don't leave those lifestyles behind, those are basically stumbling blocks that we'll have to continue to hurdle, and that right there can lead to us falling back into that bad behavior or us becoming the old man again. So, that's my take on it.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, go Zadok, man. You want to follow up and bring it in?
Well, to add, if I'm able to what them brothers are pointing out, the company you keep has dictated who you are. I mean, black people, just in general. Let's just talk about our people for a minute. We from amongst the poverty-stricken confines of our people in these ghettos in this country has come the most popular music art form on the planet right now, hip-hop.
Yep.
Man, look, you listen to music long enough. Dude ain't even got to be standing next to you physically. You just listen to somebody you like what they talking about enough. All of a sudden, how you dress, it's going to be how they dress. Your little slang, it's going to be how they, you know what I mean? I'm in New York. I mean, a lot of us in New York still to this day, 20 years later, we walk around like, yo, what's good, son? Anybody who ever called their money stack cream, you got to thank the Wu-Tang. A whole bunch of young men who were 5%ers. Not all of them were necessarily probably real serious 5%ers, but that was just that was the fad and the influence around them. So they came with the God language. Yo, what up, son? I call my brother son because he shine like one. You know what I'm saying? Like, yo, cash rule everything around me. I got to get the cream. If you call money cream, you are already proven how much the environment, what come through the ear gate, what come through the eye gate, has on you. So just imagine that's entertainment. So the people who are around you, the toxicity of fornication and the degrading of our women, which I hated to see when I was young. I didn't grow up with my father, so I always saw my mama looking for love. I hated when men hurted her. I saw my sisters grow up and get hurt. All my female cousins, I got one aunt, God rest her soul. She had 9 girls and 1 boy. Y'all hear me? I seen what them women went through. So when I was a teenager, I hated dudes who talked down to women, who treated them a certain way. But once I got my feet wet and lost my virginity when I was about 16, all of a sudden I was becoming the thing I hated. Why? Not because anyone told me to become that, but because simply that example being around me was what it was. None of my uncles dedicated to no women. None of the men in the hood, the drug dealers always was with a different chick. You see chicks getting out of whips and, they scantily dressed. And so you start to even look at women through that lens. Everything has created the toxic mindset that accepts sin. See, sin is sin no matter where you go, but depending on where you come from, how it manifests itself in your society can be a little bit different from the next society. But we all have been toxified with fornication, lying, selfishness, murder in your heart, and that murder in the heart then led some men to murder. As Christ said, all of that stuff starts in the heart, and then it manifests and come out as tangible sin. So like BA, you know what's good with us where I'm from. You know how we roll. We ain't just got no Bible study class. We got a community. Like, we got people who have moved to our city from different places, and they have come to be discipled. We believe discipleship is not something that just happened at a church service or a Sabbath service. Discipleship is relationship. It's friendship. Young men that come around us, kind of loose. They coming from where they from, and all of a sudden they're around a whole bunch of brothers and women who married. Almost everybody they come around, our scene is about marriage, family, and dedication to the covenant of what the Most High intended. And young men, I'm talking about men 18, 19, within a year or two being around us, the influence of the environment has changed the toxicity. But what is that? Not necessarily just what we're doing, but why we do it. Because the love of Yah has overtaken our heart. And it was the love of Yah, which started with instruction. And that instruction came from men who were doing their damnedest to follow that instruction. That's why I shout out to the Israel of God, Elder Bowie, all of them elder brothers, man, who in their different marriages, or if these men were single, as far as you know, they were doing their best to keep themselves unspotted from fornication. They told us back in the mid-'90s, yo, y'all need to go ahead and y'all brothers need to be getting married. Bowie ain't with the shacking up. I'm just shouting him out, y'all, because I sat in the Israel of God for about 4 years as a student. You know what I'm saying? And I remember that elder, my elder Judah. Well, not my elder Judah, my brother Judah, who's one of the elders here. When he was ready to get married, Bowie counseled him personally. Bowie would come to Buffalo on trips from Chicago, and after class, man, he'd be up at Judah and them house, sitting there eating dinner, telling them the importance of things. So what I'm saying is, when that came, all of a sudden, the desire to be around those who, if you stayed around them, all they want to do is talk about the club, the one-night stand, excuse my language, getting hit up by chicks, all of this, it keeps you in that mindset. I used to hustle. I used to do things. I wasn't, you know what I'm saying, I wasn't the biggest nothing, but I played and dabbled. When I wanted to hustle and I wanted to get work, or I needed somebody to front me, I stayed in an environment where that could happen. When the Most High convinced me it was time to get away from that, and the word in another company of people were saying, yo, that's not the way to go, come over here in this environment, when I made the decision to leave that environment and spend my time in the other, that environment of love was the detoxifying agent. So, yes, the company you keep can bring that toxicity, but the company you keep can also be the conduit and the agent that the Lord uses to actually start to detoxify you. That's the last scripture I read, 1 Peter 4. Love covers a multitude of sin, and love is none other than the commandments kept and felt tangibles.
Preach, Zadok.
Man, good word, Doc. Good word, Doc. That's one of the main reasons.
Yeah, can I please land back off that, he kind of just opened it up, man, so it can be more, if you don't mind. Can I add to that a little bit?
Yeah, you go ahead, my brother. After that, I'm going to share a few words myself, man, because a lot of that was that I brought to the table resonated with me, and I would like to share my own personal experience dealing with a toxic environment, how it affected my relationship and things of that nature. But go ahead, my brother.
All right, let me keep it swift because I definitely want to hit it. I'm glad you went where you went. Everything you said was like, okay, it was right on time. It was of the spirit. And I would like to say, like when you said, basically you was getting the message across that people need to understand. They got that old term, life is what you make it. And to a degree, that is absolutely true. We know the Most High, in the end of the day, he's the author, he's the navigator, he's the whole thing. But the fair thing about him is He'll set the path for you. You just got to follow it. Now, it's up to you if you go off in a ditch somewhere, because you go off in a ditch, he lets you know what's going to happen. And so when you was talking about this, just like the power of influence even in the rap music and stuff like that, that is 100% on point. It's a spirit with that thing. And I know some people say, oh, man, they sound spooky. Call it what you want to, but it can be proven by observation. So we can call this Eastern God science. And I'm telling y'all, just like a dude could come out, look at the skinny jeans spirit now. Now, I know you probably got this question coming up. I'm just being honest. I know BA probably got this question somewhere down the line because we got to get to it. But I just got to say, like he was saying, rappers will say certain things, you know, Wu-Tang Cream, get the money, dollar bill, y'all, and all that. Now it's skinny jeans, red hair, and all of that. Now, when I see stuff like that, I have to wipe my eyes for a while because I literally think it's a joke. This can't be real, but it's absolutely real, and it all has to do with people. Influence. Influence can travel for thousands of miles, man. You'd be surprised something you and your homie could have came up with in the crib. And in a 2-week span, you could make up a word. That word would go from Buffalo, New York, all the way to Ohio somewhere. And you got cats over there saying that word. They don't know the origin of it. They don't even know who made it up. All they know is somebody else saying it and it sounds cool. For example, did y'all know, coming from Chicago now, from the Chicago point of view, so we had the East Coast, now we got the Central, right? Everybody say fam now. But if you ask your average person, they think it's just short for family, which it is. But if you ask your average person, where did that term fam derive from? They can't tell you. It derives in the projects. Well, they had tore the projects down, but it derived near what we call the low end on the south side of Chicago. And the word fam actually came from famo. So it had to do with the family, but it was actually a term that only folks said. If y'all know what folks is, the Runner the 6.5, Gangster Disciples, Black Disciples, they said fam. So it was a code word, and it was a way to distinguish themselves from people who ran under 5-point styles, like Vice Lords and Blackstone. You know what I'm saying? Stones would say Mo because of the Moorish science influence, and Lords would say Joe because they got a little Moorish science influence, but they would put the Joe to separate themselves from that. Now, I say that to say, if a person didn't know that 12 years ago and they just came to Chicago saying that, they probably could have got themselves hurt. So you got to be careful when you don't know these spirits and these influences and where they come from. So, yeah, man, so I just want to throw that in there, man. And I love that spirit that Zadar got because that's mine. I'm about being proactive and not reactive so much. So go ahead, Brother B.A.
Man, thank you, Mikha'el. I appreciate that. I just want to say a few words when it comes to what Zadok was talking about. I know personally, me coming out of Southside Sacramento, that's where I was raised up at. Sacramento is known for poverty, is known for its gang activity, drugs, all the typical stereotypes you hear about poor blacks. And me being raised in that kind of environment, I mean, my mother and my grandmother, they played a very significant part in my life. My father was there. He was living in another state, but my father made it a point to be in contact as much as possible. And me growing up in that area, I picked up on behavior. Even though my mother and my grandmother were church-going people, they raised me as a Baptist. I was going to church every Sunday on the usher board, in the choir, you name it. But outside the household, I had friends who were selling weed, smoking weed, drinking, shooting dice. All my peers, brothers who had multiple girlfriends and things of that nature. And I eventually got involved in that. And I picked up on a lot of bad characteristics. Even though, like Zadok was saying, he grew up despising men who mistreated the women in his relatives and his family. I also had an issue with men who did that, and I eventually became the type of the individuals I had an issue with. And then I was a heavy fornicator. I lied. I sold drugs. I did anything I could do best to get over. And the years down the line, I met the mother of my child. And for those who don't know me, she passed away about a year ago. And even in our relationship, I had a lot of growing pains. I was very immature. The Most High took me out of the hood, but I did not allow the hood to come out of me. I still had the nigga syndrome. I still had a foul mouth, bad language. I didn't treat her right. It takes two to tangle, but I'm admitting my faults. And this is what the show is called, the Man Up segment. So I'm manning up to my behavior, how I used to act. And unfortunately, she passed away. And while she was going through her fight with cancer, a lot of things opened my eyes. I had a lot of things I was denial about. I was hurt because of things in the past that happened to me from other people, and not just of even experiences with me and her that were unsettled for a while. And I think the Most High and me and her made amends, and we settled them. And watching her go through what she went through, it really, really changed my perspective on life, because now all of a sudden I'm a single father raising my girls up all by myself. Yes, I have help. I have other family members who have rushed in and stepped up to help me. But at the end of the day, I'm responsible for the direction my daughters go in. I'm responsible for the direction my daughters grow. And then with that being said, I just had to share that because of the words that you brothers were saying. It resonated with me deeply. And Most High willing, I continue to heal because I'm still going through a healing process. And most definitely, I can admit that. I have no problem with admitting I have issues. For those who know me personally, they know how I get down. They know I don't mind being corrected openly. I don't have an ego like such individuals we know that's on social media or in our personal communities. And with that, Brother Sal, I just want to check and see how many callers to press one, if you don't mind, bro.
All right, family, once again, this is the Man Up segment. We're keeping it real right here on the Big Talk Radio. Today's topic is how do we heal living in a toxic environment, and it's a beautiful thing to have men gather together to speak about things that's going on within the community. If you want to join the conversation, that number is 319-527-6239. Matter of fact, anybody could call in, man, woman, anybody could call in. It's like, I know, in case, there's some ladies out there that are like, I don't know if I should call. I can call in too. I know, but the number is 319-527-6239. I think we have somebody from Skype calling in. Let's go to the phone lines. Skype caller, you on there?
Yo, shalom, Sal, shalom, brothers. How y'all doing?
Much love to you, my brother. What's your name and where you calling from?
Hi, this is the Anonymous Hebrew. I'm calling from Georgia. How y'all doing?
Oh, much love to you, brother. Hey, I meant to ask you a question. You from Sacramento?
I was born or raised in South Richmond, and then I moved to South.
Okay.
Yeah, and then I moved to Sac. I lived in Rosemont. I moved to Sac after my mom passed. I got out the military, and my mom passed, and then after I went through my little struggles, I moved to Sac because my cousin was up there, and then started doing a couple things and ended up in Georgia, and the Most High He woke me up while I was in school out here. Like I was going to Liberty University, and he woke me up in the middle of that thing. So I was it's crazy to hear a lot of the stories, you feel me? Because it's like we all got similar paths, especially if we come from, like what Brother Mikha'el said, if we really come from the hood. Like, how South Richmond get down. So it's like...
Yeah, I'm already knowing, bro. It's heavy out there, bro.
Right. It's like we was leading the murder capital, like, when I was growing up. And it's a little area, like, so things that we went through or even still going through right now, for me, I needed to understand it. So that's why I went to school for psychology and religion as well, because I wanted to understand what was going on, right? How do you merge the two? What's really happening? And so what you find out, it's funny you using the word toxicity or toxic tonight, but really what they call it scientifically is like trauma. You feel me? How do we explain the trauma that we went through to our family, to the nation? And it all comes down to education. This is what I'm starting to see. All the young brothers that I'm trying to mentor and raise up in this thing and just be quietly building this thing out here, it all starts with education. And not saying that I'm perfect. None of us are perfect. We all got struggles, right? I get mad. Like, I know that's my struggle. I'm a striker. I'm a fighter. So, every day I try to ask the Most High, keep me from falling into that same situation. I'll grab a weapon in a second. That's what we grew up doing. So we've had to learn how to cope. And so that's what you teach. Like if you're in psychology, if you are a counselor or a therapist, you're trying to give people coping skills, right? And the first thing they teach you to do, and I'm going to be quick because I know it sounds like I'm rambling, but the first thing they teach you to do is to find the precipitating event, right? What was the first thing that offset the trauma? And for us, it goes all the way back to slavery, right? And so we need to educate our brothers and let them know what the goal is in this society. And unfortunately, we got the worst of it, but I think Brother Zadok said too, it's all the sons of Adam is dealing with the trauma in the world. But it's really heavy focused on us. And so what we need to do is realize the traps and the pits and the snares that are set up in each hood, right? Each society, each system, and then start teaching on that. Because the only way we overcome it is through education, right? Now, the first thing we need to do is pray and get in touch with the Most High and pick up that word. But if you can't do that, because some people they too smart, they too intelligent, they feel like I can't do it, whatever the situation is, then we got to educate them from a worldly standpoint and explain to them what this trauma has done. So, for instance, everybody I saw growing up carried guns, sold drugs, and had sex with a lot of women. So by the time I'm in high school, I sold drugs, I carried guns, and I had sex with a lot of women. You know, I would tell people, beautiful women love me, and I love beautiful women. These are things that we were proud of, things that the Most High just is detestable in the sight. We would be proud of that because that's what the society taught us. Now, like Zadok said, I'm sure all y'all have realized when you get around a bunch of grown, strong men that are really putting it down for the Most High, it changes you. It challenges you to grow. It challenges you to read, and it challenges you to really understand. So I think the main way we focus in healing is to teach proper coping mechanisms. And those coping mechanisms come from the Word of God. It comes from how do we handle things when our brother get out of line? How do we handle things when an enemy comes at us? How do you determine the difference between the two? Right? These are very critical, especially in this day and age, in this time that we're in right now. Otherwise, you will find yourself letting the enemy run over you and being hostile towards your brother when it probably should be vice versa. Or at least, moving in the spirit of the Most High, letting him show you and identify what's what. So, I don't really got much to add to it. I think what y'all talking about is incredible. We need to hear this. We need to do this because as men, we need to be leading the way. And we do. We need sort of like an amnesty type situation where we can just sit back and be like, I did all of this messed up stuff, and I need to get it off my chest with my brothers, with people that's not going to judge me. And then from there, learn the proper coping mechanisms that's been prescribed to us from our prophets, from our people that came before us, right? And we get that from learning Torah, and then also understanding what really the Messiah was saying, not trying to take us against the law, but understanding the grace that comes from us being completely cast away and then living in sin, coming to the truth, and understanding that sanctification is a process, right? This is a process. So while some of us may get, like I ain't fornicating, I ain't committing adultery, I ain't doing all these other things, still might get mad. So I got to make sure I keep myself away from those type of situations and educate myself on how to cope. But I think you're doing a great job. Great job, Brother B.A. Good show, Sal, Zadok, Brother Mike, Brother Rick. Anybody else supposed to come, shalom, and let's keep going. Israel.
Hey, my brother, just before you fall back, I want to ask you something real quick. Yo, Sal, Anonymous Hebrew, you mind staying on the panel for the rest of the show?
Yeah, no problem, for sure.
Yeah. Sal, would that be okay? Could we lock the brother in?
Man, you the host, brother. You good.
All right, my man, Anonymous Hebrew, hold tight, my brother, because most definitely I want to build with you too, man. I want to tap in with you after the show, man, so we can most definitely collab and network and do some talking and brother to brother, most definitely. But
that's what's up. I'm with
so let's go for sure. I appreciate you. Much love to you. Yo, Sal, got anybody else? More callers?
I'd like to say shalom to that brother.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, we have some more callers there. About once again, that number is 319-527-6239. Put it on speed dial. Make sure you call in. And I shout out to people on social media that's sharing the show. We appreciate the family out there that's sharing the Man Up segment on social media. Let's go to the next caller, though. Let's go to 916-747. You're live in there.
Shalom, Sal. Shalom, debate talk for you, Brother B.A., Brother Mikha'el, Brother Zadok, Anonymous Hebrew, and Rick. This is Sister Ashanti. I want to say shalom, and so far, I'm loving the conversation. I appreciate brothers dialoguing in this manner because we don't see this too often, and this is what our community needs. I do want to say from the feminine principle that we love you, brothers. We need you, brothers. We need the Most High in you, and anything that women like me can do to build and uplift and encourage and support. That's the type of woman I am, and that's the type of women I surround myself with. So I just want to say we love you, and thank you for this. I do have a couple of concerns, but maybe this will be answered further in the dialogue. Social media is one of my things I have a concern with when it comes to the brothers. People out here are watching us call ourselves Israelites, people of the Most High, and that we have the genuine understanding of the law, statutes, and commandments. We say that we hold the code of moral ethics that can help our community and build. What I see is social media has become an outlet, not just for women, but some of the men as well. But some of our brothers, I have a concern about that outlet being used, and, certain brothers who are in the brotherhood who know each other well, it seems like maybe the brothers are not being taken to the side and saying, hey, let's make sure we are showing conduct, behavior, and a fruitful spirit of love, compassion, grace, mercy, right? That's one of my concerns, but healing, and I appreciate the brothers coming on talking about healing. A lot of us, sometimes we think there's nothing wrong with us, and so we don't even want to get diagnosed. But there is an issue that we all have to deal with, and that's coming out of dysfunction. But I'm one for wanting our brothers to stay in the homes with the women. I want the women to stay at home with the men, and I don't like gender wars and gender clashing. So healing to keep ourselves together, get ourselves together, and make sure that we're, holding each other accountable. So those are just my concerns, and I want to get you guys' take on that. But please keep up the good work. I listen to all of you. I know I don't probably say it, and you probably don't hear me say it too often, but I listen to all of you and all of your teachings. I do, especially Brother B.A., of course, and Brother Mikha'el and Zadok. I listen to all of your teachings, and you guys are sound. And I hold you guys as respectable in the community, and I believe the brothers, are you guys show that you're credible to be listened to and taken seriously. So with that, I yield. I want to say keep up the great work. I love you guys. We need you guys. Thank you. Shalom.
Shalom, beloved. I'd like to give a shout back out to that sister. She said her name was Ashanti.
Yeah, it's Sister Ashanti. Yeah, that's my sis out of Sacramento, man. We and one thing I'll say about Ashanti, man, and the brothers in Buffalo, a lot of people who know me, Zadok knows this very well. Zadok knows me. I was part of the connection. I'm still a member. It's just that the brothers in Buffalo, they put our Bible study group together in Sacramento. We have a Bible study group that Judah and Zadok and the brothers all put together. And most high willing, we will continue to grow, and we are growing. And most definitely, some good news just came out today. There's more brothers in the city of Sacramento who have been watching this, and most high willing, we're going to grow. And Ashanti is very influential in the group. I consider her an anchor in the group. She has brought some power. She's brought a whole other perspective of Torah to the table that as we as brothers, as men who are in the group, have to observe and consider. Because we always tend to say that us men, we're creating the image of the Most High. But we tend to forget not only us men are creating the image of the Most High, but the women are also creating the image of the Most High. And living in this society based on domination and all these other things that are contrary to him, we tend to take upon the acts and the spirit of our oppressor and the thing that lead in the spirit that leads our society. And I will most definitely say that Ashanti has been a influence to me, her and her husband. They have been two individuals who I've learned a lot from. They're very humble, and that spirit of humbleness is rubbed off on me. So I most definitely appreciate her, and I love her to death. Ashanti, if you hear me, you know it's your little brother, B.A. Sal, we got any more callers?
We have Maury Eastock in the building. Say what's up, Maury Eastock.
Peace and blessings, everyone. Peace and blessings. Sorry for getting on the call a little bit late. Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir, man. Glad you could join us.
Yes, definitely. I said I actually tuned in the beginning. I know we was taking a minute to get up, and then I ran into a situation. So I want to apologize to all the callers, everybody who tuned in. As always, I want to give honor and praise to the Most High God, King of heaven and earth, even the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob, for without him we are nothing. Definitely feeling the vibe of the call. You know, I want to thank you, Brother B.A., for having me on the show. It's definitely a blessing. Healing in a toxic environment. You know, I often talk about this with the congregation. These things start with commitment to self and first and foremost commitment to God. You know, we got a lot of bad ways that we trying to shake. And like with anything, you know, I tell people this all the time. We've been practicing years of wicked ways, not on purpose, but by default of living in a wicked society. We've been practicing wicked ways, and the results of practicing that have had us in such a state that either we don't realize what's toxic or we think it's normal to be toxic. You know, think about people who have been institutionalized, and that's us as a people. We've been institutionalized to the point where when things that are not normal, we don't think is normal, and things that are just wrong, we tend to laugh at. And so in order for us to heal, you know, part of that is taking us away from, is that we have to take ourselves away from the world we live in. We have to stop and realize that there's certain music that we can't continue to listen to because it strikes our mood. It strikes our energy. It makes us in a way that we don't need to be. It makes us think about things that we don't need to think about. Think about a friend that you have that always gets you into trouble, or is never good when things don't turn around good when that person comes around. You know, we talk about it as negative energy, people who bring negative energy. But people who bring negative energy is because of things that people tolerate around them. And so, Brother B.A., you know, as we talk about the things that we're going to build with, a lot of times I talk about being positive and knowing what you tolerate in your space so that things don't continue to be toxic. You know, we don't need to get into arguments. We choose to get into arguments. We don't need to get into fights. We choose to get into fights. Why do I say that? Because we can easily walk away. There's nothing wrong with walking away, but we've been taught to be fighters no matter what, as opposed to thinking to choose wisdom in dealing with situations. You know, they have a proverb, they have a saying. You know, the smart man knows how to deal with a problem, but the wise man knows how to avoid it. We allow toxic situations to fester, and we see it, we shake our head at it, but we never solve it. We never avoid it. We never keep it away. We find ourselves as men and women involved in toxic relationships. We see it. We bring it in our homes. We think, oh, there's a certain point that you're going to argue. and I stop and I ask you, why do you think you're going to argue? Why do you think you're going to fight? Have you ever made a commitment to yourself that I'm just not going to get angry today? People think, you'd be like, well, who would do that? Well, you know, if you have a birthday, you stop and you say to yourself, I'm going to be happy all day on my birthday. Why? Because it's my birthday. But the other days of the year, you don't make that same commitment to yourself to stop and say, the same type of happiness that I have on my birthday, I'm going to try to match that on this day or on that day. You understand what I'm saying? I'm not going to let toxic people mess up my mood. I'm not going to let negative things break me. I'm going to walk away from that black cloud today. For all who are toxic, you know, that's the black cloud that you allow to either follow you or you walk under. You know, the black cloud rains on you. The black cloud is the person who sits down and they bring that negative energy, who complains about what you're wearing and why you're wearing it, what you're doing and why you're doing it, who you're talking to and why you're talking to them. We don't need those type of things in our lives. The black cloud is the person who's asking you why you're serving God when nobody else is serving God. That toxicity, it's one of those things that we have to stop and be cognizant of. Can you stop and look at the people in your life and think about people that you don't like or you don't want around you? If you can, you need to stop and ask yourself, why is that person still in your life? You know, I sit down and I look at, you know, they got these self-help groups and self-help individuals, people who stop and tell people about how you should feel about what you're feeling, when in truth, you're the one who have all the answers to how people make you feel. So I'm going to say this in closing. Recognize who you are, recognize your situation, and then you can recognize what you need to get rid of and what you need to continue to embrace. Don't run from conversations just like we're having right here, right now. Because, you know, when we get on social media, I sit down and I say it, you know, we call ourselves Israelites, and then we find reasons to start to argue about being Israelites. And so maybe you're not an Israelite. Maybe you claim another faith or another walk of life. And we choose to sit down and argue and bring negative energy to the walk of life that a person chooses to observe, as opposed to sit down and edifying one another, making each other more knowledgeable so that we can all live a better lifestyle. We use it as a point of contention as opposed to a point of upliftment. And God warned us of that. And so I say this, bro, keep these conversations going. Because like the sister who was just talking, we need sisters like that, reinforcing the good in what we do. We need brothers out in these streets telling us about who we are and how we should live. Don't get mad at the person who's trying to teach you something. Encourage that person to continue teaching. And if you got what that person has to offer already, fine, don't worry about it. Let him keep going or let her keep going in what they do. But don't stop the ship from moving forward. Don't stop the family from building. Don't stop our good time. Don't rock the boat for the sake of rocking the boat. In order for us to build, we have to encourage one another in what we do, recognize our rights, recognize our wrongs, stand in the right, and get rid of the wrongs. And to that I say peace and blessings.
Man, thank you, Moray, man. We appreciate your words of wisdom. It's always a privilege to have you on here with us. And I'm going to go on to the next question. And since social media came up, I would most definitely like to address that. And in the so-called religious world, we have various individuals who call themselves by the name of the Most High God, whether they be Hebrews, Christians, Muslims, and the many various other denominations of Christendom. I see a lot of religious entertainers. Why is social media full of so many various religious entertainers? And on top of that, since we see this, since we see various religious entertainers, I tend to notice that the image of our God is being destroyed, is being tarnished, because we have individuals, the wrong individuals in the right places with platforms, causing dissension amongst different groups. I heard an echo.
Yeah. Do me a favor, guys. Just mute your phones. Mute your phones. Yeah, mute your phones. All right, go ahead. Try it again.
Okay, let me just get to the question real quick. There's a lot of religious entertainers on social media, and they're causing to tarnish the name of our God. No matter what denomination we tend to go by, the name of our God is being tarnished and is being stained. Why is it that we have an overabundance of religious entertainers? And let's start the rotation with let's go with Brother Rick.
Okay. Yes. Well, in the 21st century, with the rise of, like the brother was talking about earlier, you can use a word in New York, and by the time you wake up in the morning, that word is being used in Australia, New Zealand, Korea, Japan, everywhere across the world. Social media joins the world. We're in California and New York or the USA, but we're joined by neighbors just at the push of a button. So the religious leaders on these social media platforms, be it Facebook, Snapchat, Instagram, these leaders are literally pushing the agenda that they believe is right. And in all this rightness, they believe that they hold the formula, or that they hold the monopoly on religion and growth in the world. Everybody want to show you how to accomplish righteousness. But nobody can tell you what's right. As a man, he tells you, you take that, you put it in your toolbox, and you go and research it for yourself. So with social media being such a powerful platform, we have to watch everything we do on social media, especially if we are calling ourselves a part of any religious sect. Sister Ashanti, she brought, great points up. And we have to be very careful on how we present ourselves on social media. We have to be careful of the arguments we present. We can't just throw out arguments after arguments, and we don't have the validation or the points to back it up. Because now we're leading people, it's called the blind leading the blind. So we have to be very careful when we're doing that. Social media, I said years ago that the internet was going to be the downfall of the world, and it has become just that. We can gain strength, we can gain knowledge, but we can also gain death, and we can gain damnation. We see on the internet and social media every few weeks or months, someone is doing something that's so drastic and extreme on the internet, be it suicide on the internet, shootings on the internet, but we also see the flip side of that coin, where the powers that be it the government or the judicial system in the form of the police force, they're killing minority men. That's what we see mostly. Of course, I'm sure they're killing some Caucasian males, but I gotta really care about my own people first. We got to start there. Before I can clean up somebody else's house, I got to care about my own. So with the rise and fall of social media being so prominent in your face, and you can click and have information that any neighborhood across the world, we have to be very careful about the messages that we send out. We got to be careful about that energy that we put out. Energy moves. And so we have to be very careful with social media. It can be a platform for damnation, or it could be a platform that leads us into eternal life. So we have to be careful of what we ingest into our spirit. And that's my take on it.
Man, thank you, Brother Rick. I appreciate you, brother. All right, man. Zadok, man. Let's follow up with you next, my brother.
All right. Social media, man, the oxymoron. It can definitely be a tool used for good, and it's clear it could be used for evil. And I think that we have to understand, because it comes out of the imagination of man, it's always going to have that. It's the latest technological thing, but yet everything that man has done is made for the purpose of himself. So one, I think that it depends on who the person is and the spirit in which they want to use anything that will determine how they'll use such a powerful tool. But I don't think that anything new is happening under the sun as far as what moves men. It's just now we live in a time where, because of the advances of man's invention, if you want to be wicked, you can really soak it up from around the world, as Brother Rick was pointing out. You can learn anything you want. You could go on the internet and learn how to make a bomb. You feel me? So if it can get that bad, you know what I'm saying? You can watch all the dirty stuff you want. You can listen to all the foolishness you want, but you can also go in there and you can hear a lot of dialogue, a lot of good discussion. Like this is happening on the internet right now. And don't forget, we got our brother Anonymous Hebrew. He's using the internet, calling in through an internet device, Skype. So there's something so how do we protect ourselves against it? We have to look at it as if we are in a room full of persons or the neighborhood we want to hang in. And the same way I would hang in certain hoods when I was out in the streets, even when I was doing dirt, I knew who the troublemakers were. I knew who the selfish guys was. I knew who the sucker was. I knew who I was going to go to that party with tonight, because if something popped, they ain't going to leave me. And I knew who, if they asked me to go anywhere that was dangerous, I'm like, nah, I ain't rocking with you, King. So I think, we have to pay close attention. And I think if we be more quiet and if we watch from the background, then one, we're not just engulfing ourselves in it. And when we choose to speak, we'll kind of know at least it could be pseudo, but at least the social media persona of certain individuals. A lot of dudes is talking this Israel, this Christian stuff. Man, we ain't no nation like that. That's a the pseudo Hebrew Israelite online oneness. That ain't real. And I seen something that hurt my heart this morning. I saw them Sakari boys have a Caucasian, not an Edomite. I know they think he's an Edomite, but they had a Caucasian brother who had no understanding of Scripture, but seemed to have a heart to just really have an affinity for the affliction that our people have been through collectively over this time. And they got some guy out here like bowing down, kissing their feet. Man, it pissed me off, because that right there is what the world sees. And then they turn around and say, that's what the Hebrews are. That's who they are. That's representative of their doctrine. And that's our fight, where it's like, look, if I go to these dudes and I hit them up and I reprove them, I'm not sure that they're going to take it as I'm really concerned. I really think that was done out of the wrong spirit. I could see the look on their faces when they asked the brother, so you say, that you feel for us and this, that, and the third, and if you could help make it right, like you want to be just. And the brother says, yeah, I see that's your heart. I'm hearing your heart. So we're going to see if you're a righteous man. Then he told the brother, yeah, get me Isaiah. I think it was Isaiah 41 or something like that. And I already knew where he was going, and I could see the other brothers, if you pay attention, you could see them kind of grinning, because they knew that the guy who was in front of them, who wanted to obey God's word, didn't know what they was about to read on him, but they done already got his mouth to witness that he want to do what the word say. It was wicked as hell, man. I'm sorry. Yo, I'm telling you right now, man, them kind of cats, man, that stuff right there, man, it really do something to me. Like, I couldn't speak peaceably to the men if I could just walk on the side of town where they were. I have to kind of sit back and be like, I was so disappointed because y'all not just representing y'all when you wear this on you. You representing a whole community that we already behind the 8 ball as a people with the curses on us. And you just doing stuff, man, to show the nations how to blaspheme God. There was nothing godly. There was nothing Christ-like about it. And it was funny because as he going to go tell his man, hey, read the scripture, you see his homie pull his head covering off as if he's being obedient to uncovering your head while you prophesy. So on one hand, you thinking that you're doing something honorable in the spirit of Christ, but then you're going to turn around and you're going to treat a man like that? You ain't no better than the oppressor. And so all I can tell you is this, man. This is what I only use, so I don't post no business on social media. I tell Israelites, don't be on there posting your business. Talk to the people who you know about your business if you need counsel. Social media ain't nowhere to get no counsel. You know what I'm saying? And there's a text that come to mind when Solomon had said in Ecclesiastes chapter 7, he has said, when you in your own house, he said, what did he say? He said, verse, what was that? Ecclesiastes 7:20, there ain't a just man upon the earth that do good and don't sin, and don't take heed to all words that are spoken, lest you hear your servant curse you. We can't pay attention to it all. It's so inviting. Like, look at everything here. And you want to click on every thread, and you want to answer every post. Man, we can't listen to everything, man. It's not going nowhere. It's not going to change how it operates. So we have to be responsible on how we operate. There's another text in 1 Timothy, chapter 6. The brother says this. He says, look, he says in verse 3. Now he was talking about masters, believing masters and servants, but there's a principle that he was using in this conversation. In verse 3, he said, if any man teach otherwise and consent not to wholesome words, like the things that make sense, the things that are righteous, even the words of our Lord Jesus Christ, and to the doctrine which is according to godliness, he is proud, knowing nothing, but doting about questions and strifes of words. And out of that comes envy, strife, railings, evil surmisings, perverse disputings of men of corrupt minds, destitute of the truth, supposing that gain is godliness. From such withdraw thyself. Now, if we leave out the gain for a minute, look at all of that and tell me that just in the so-called Hebrew Israelite and Christian circles that you might see in these posts on the internet, that you don't see that coming from all sides. And when you try to step up and be a voice of reason, you got somebody want to call you a coon or, whatever it is. And then you can get outside of yourself. And so my thing is that I try to dictate the conversation, and I'm trying to be on the offense more than the defense. So when I see something out there that's wrong, I'm just going on the offense, and I'm going to create my own post. I'll get on in a video, invite brothers on like BA is doing tonight, and let us use social media to address some of this nonsense. And I just want to read one last text. In the book of Jude, he talked about those who were among the people, and he talked about how Enoch had prophesied that Yah is going to punish the ungodly in their hard speeches that they speak against him. You don't speak against God solely by literally saying like something like stupid, like I hate you, God. But you speak against God when you don't speak right principle. As Yeshua said, if they're not helping to gather, then they're part of the scattering cause. But he talked about these ungodly individuals in Jude verse 16. He said they're murmurers, complainers, walking after their own lust. Their mouth speak great swelling words, having men's persons in admiration because of advantage. Some cats, they read a lot. They got a lot of memory knowledge. They're not blessed by the Ruach. They just got a lot of memory knowledge. Satan himself, the Bible says Satan is wiser than the prophet Daniel. He's so wise. But just because he's wise, he told Yeshua, is it not written this? So just because scripture can be quoted and sound wise is not proof of the Ruach. It is the tangible efforts. And all I can say, y'all, is social media is not somewhere to totally judge men. But when we see foolishness, man, and we hear the things that are coming out of mouths and the stuff people typing and saying about one another, we have to make sure that if we're not able to stop it 100%, stop others, every time we on the platform, people can say, well, I can say one thing. You are an anomaly. I hate when people point to me and say, you're not like other Israelites. I'm like, y'all got to get out more because I am like other Israelites. But y'all just keep paying attention to the fanatic clowns, man. And it really upsets me, but I know that, hey, if I'm a play in the arena, you know, the bullies and the nonsensical get to say they say too. So I just pray that when I speak that I'm not wasting my breath and that the Most High is edified. But social media is dangerous, man, if not used right. So we got a fight on our hands.
Wow, Zadok, man, I appreciate your words. And just to land back on what you were saying when it comes to brothers who sit out there and just me, you as brothers, followers, and believers in the Nazarene and Master Teacher, we understand to be Christ. We also reject Christ with our actions. You know what I'm saying? We also reject him by the way not only by how we talk, but how we conduct ourselves. Our conduct plays a very big part in how we go about things in life. And when we're going about, and I saw that video you talked about, I seen it too. And and there's not enough words that I can say that I'm not even gonna get into it, but it is what it is. All we can do is pray for them brothers. But the way and the conduct of the so-called individuals who call themselves Christians or Hebrews who call themselves to be Christ-like or whatever title or personification you call yourself, our conduct plays a real big role. And if our conduct is not on point, who are we fooling? And we're just as dangerous and just as bad as the other religious entertainers who are on social media creating game-banging doctrine and the various other things that are contrary to the image of our Father. So, Mikha'el, I know personally, man, you had your fair share of issues with the religious entertainers. Me too. So, from your perspective, man, give us something we can expound on from your perspective out there in the shop.
All right, stand by, Mikha'el. Stand by for 1 minute. I just want to let the people know we have like 5 minutes on the air, fam. We have 5 minutes on the air. We're going to the overtime part of the show. If you want to gain access to the overtime part of the show, all you got to do is dial that number, 319-527-6239, to hear the rest of the show live. If you're listening on social media, once the 5 minute time is up, you won't be able to hear the show unless you go and call that number, or you can check out the archives later on. Again, that number is 319-527-6239. I do see we have one caller standing by, 530. Stand by. We're going to get to you. But once again, everybody else on social media, once again, the number is 319-527-6239. Call in before the time runs out. Go ahead, Mikha'el.
Okay, and on that note, Sal, I'm glad you threw that reminder out there. I need to hang up and call right back because my phone got one of those timers like every 2 hours it'll cut off, so I want to cut off and I won't be able to call back. So y'all hold the question. It should take me 40 seconds. So be looking for my number. It's the 773-640.
I got you. I'll look for it. That. All right, family. So once again, you're now listening to Debate Talk Free Radio. Again, that number is 319-527-6239. If you don't know, you can check out the show via iTunes in the podcast section. Of course, we're on Blog Talk at www.blogtalkradio.com/Debate Talk for you. And, of course, you can check out the archives on YouTube. Just type in the search box, Debate Talk for you. See Brother BA called this drop as well. Hopefully, you can call back in. All right. All right, so I'm holding it down right now. Holding it down. We're just waiting for brothers to call back in. Okay, I see we got Mikha'el. All right. I'm Mikha'el. You can say your piece. Go ahead.
Yeah, that was that. Man, whew, I got to go in behind that one. I mean, Zadok laid it down. The brother Moray laid it down. B.A. laid it down. The sister kicked it off, Ashanti. And, I'm, it's good that we got on the entertainment subject and these cameras, man. I agree with that sister. I agree with everybody who spoke. And I'm just going to land back again because I get in the echo. Somebody got to move their phone.
Yeah, everybody please mute your phones. Mute your phones, everybody. We get an echo.
Yeah. Okay. And so I always tell people, tell brothers especially, well, sisters too, I always tell them, man, you got to watch them cameras, man. Them cameras can do a lot of damage. And once you put stuff out there, it ain't no taking it back. And I know this as a YouTuber, you know, and over the years having radio shows and stuff like that and going on a lot of other people's platforms. I've been on numerous platforms, including the Debate Talk for You, of course. And I could tell you, it's some times, man, I've gotten better at it now, but it's sometimes I go back and listen to stuff, and I say, oh, God, why did I say that? Or why did I fall off into that? Or things like that. Because once you put it out there, it's on there. And even if you delete it, you best believe them other people got it. They ain't deleting nothing. And they just waiting to build up on you. But I don't even get into that level. But I'll just say, man, you know, it was a very good point that all y'all making, because social media, man, right now, the Israelite male is under a telescope. I mean, for one, it's the not only is, you know, knowledge increasing, but your privacy is shrinking. And that whole, you know, hidden crafty counsel, you know, Deuteronomy chapter 32, verse 26 tell us, you know, he going to scatter us to all four corners. I'm paraphrasing, and he said he going to cause our name to cease from among men. And, well, those days are passing. You know, to cease from among men is saying that the other nations wouldn't recognize us as Israel no more. That name Israel will be taken from us. You know, oh, yeah, and I'm still waiting on somebody, you know, to prove otherwise, but I'll wait on another show for that one as far as the Jewish people is concerned. I don't remember them ever losing their identity. So my point is, being that it's no secret who Israel is now, it's no secret. People can kick tooth and nail and say maybe it's not true. But the fact that they are familiar with these group of black people from around the world saying that they are the true Hebrew Israelites of the Bible, we have to be extremely careful what we do on these cameras. You know, I was just thinking when the brother was talking a minute ago, I mean, if you just look, I mean, for example, even look at the ones who don't know they're Israel, you know, the dead preachers or whatever. You know, look at Creflo Dollar, man. I mean, this Jake was just on TV talking about some, if somebody teaching you to keep the law, that comes from Satan. And they say the best way you know Satan is if somebody is keeping the law, because Satan will deceive you to keep the law. And, you know, I remember a year or two ago he was talking about, you know, you couldn't take a shower on the Sabbath. I mean, the dude gets more and more ridiculous. But the point is, this is supposed to be a priest of God, man. I mean, not even just the position he holding, but the one he born with. This is a natural Israelite out there. So when the brother Zadok was saying, or I think it was Zadok that was saying that, you know, you can basically defame God's name by how you represent yourself, by what come out your mouth. You know, it's a fact because he say his name is defiled amongst the Gentiles because of us. So what do he mean by that? Is he talking about a literal name? You know what I'm saying? No, he's talking about his namesake, his surname, that same one that tell us in Isaiah, you know what I'm saying, that we would surname ourselves after Israel. We carry his name, man. One of his hats. That's what we carry, and so we represent him. You know, so imagine if your son went out. Y'all live in a small town. Everybody know that's your son, and he out there just doing all type of folly. You know what I mean? That name is gonna be tarnished. That's your child. You know, and so yeah, we definitely have to be careful with that. With these cameras, man, and it's crazy because we doing the total opposite, and I'm just speaking as far as Israel as a nation now. We are doing the total opposite when the rest of the nations are looking at us than we're supposed to be doing or what was intended for us to do. If you look at, let me see, I see a good one. Deuteronomy chapter 4. Here you go. This is a good one right here. Deuteronomy chapter 4, verse 5. It says, "Behold, I have taught you statutes and judgments, even as the Lord my God commanded me, that ye shall do so in the land whether you go to possess it." Now, in this case, the land has possessed us. But we in the same boat. We in this land. So you got to think about it. It says, "Keep therefore and do them. For this is your wisdom and your understanding in the sight of the nation, which shall hear all these statutes and say, surely this is a great nation. This nation is a wise and understanding people. For what nation is there so great who have God so nigh or near unto them as the Lord our God is in all things that we call upon him for? So when we out there, the other nation, of course we gonna go through our trials and tribulations. But in the end of the day, the way we carry ourselves, not what we saying all the time, but the mouth is dangerous too. But the way we carry ourselves is actually supposed to represent the Most High good, man. Like, man, them some wise people, man. You know what I'm saying? Look how they deal in finances and stuff, because, you know, that's in the Torah, the law. It tells us how to deal with finances economically in our communities and all those things. It tells us on our diets, on how to eat. It even tell you how to farm if you're capable of doing it. This is supposed to be wisdom in the sight of the other nations. But lo and behold, we found a way to be pardon this train going by. We found a way to be total foolishness in the sight of the other nations. And so that kind of go with what Zadok was saying. And then I got another one, too. Let me see. This is the prophet Isaiah chapter 56. And I want people to call us to really listen to this and pay attention to this, too, also, right? It says this. He says, the Lord God, which gathered the outcasts of Israel, saith, yet will I gather others to him, besides those that are gathered unto him. And then he goes on to talk to the nations, right? Lord, this is what he's going to say to the nations. All ye beasts of the field, come to devour, ye, all ye beasts in the forest. So he's telling all the other nations, man, I'm about to let y'all tee off on these cats. And let's see why. Listen to this. It say, because his watchmen are blind, they are all ignorant. They are all dumb dogs. They cannot bark, sleeping, lying down, loving to slumber. And the watchmen, we know, are the people that's in the positions of spiritual authority throughout our communities, whether they're Hebrew Israelites, so-called Christians, Muslims, Moorish Americans, whatever. If they out there, and I'm just throwing them in there because that's what our people are, but especially if you know you Israel, you know what I'm saying? They supposed to be the watchmen. They supposed to warn us when danger coming. Where that danger coming from? The Most High. Why? Because of our behavior. They supposed to be telling us about this, but he said they all dumb dogs. And they just, like you said, brother, they like to be out in front of the camera. Look at me, look at me, look at this. Verse 11, it say, yea, they are greedy dogs which can never have enough. Look at Cash Flow Holler, man. I mean Creflo Dollar. He can afford, literally, financially at least, you know what I'm saying, to act a fool like that, and his congregation ain't going to go nowhere. Ain't going to go nowhere. You know, let me continue reading. It say, and they are shepherds that cannot understand. That man ain't got no understanding, and I ain't just picking him. I'm using him because he just said some of the most outrageous stuff lately. And our Hebrew Israelite brothers, too. You know what I'm saying? We already got bullseyes on our back. So we have to keep that in mind at all times. I ain't saying you have a spirit of fear, but we definitely need to pay more attention to Bible verses like Jeremiah chapter 29. Y'all read that on your own when y'all get there. He tell us exactly how to live when we in captivity. But let me continue reading. The middle of verse 11, it say, they all look to their own way, everyone for his gain from his quarter. So that's the whole thing. A lot of these cats out here, man, whether it's these false prophet, pastor, pork chop preachers, or whether it's some zoned out Israelites, the truth of the matter is their gain is to look at me, look at me, look at me. Now, there's jakes out there that's dead serious that really do care about their people. I know some. You know what I'm saying? They corner preach, and they really care about their people. But you do get them, Zadok. You do get them brothers, man. I feel y'all on that you can look and you can tell. I ain't saying the brother Sakari or nothing like that personally, and I haven't seen that video. But I will tell you, I have seen Israelites, man, that you can tell they just out there. They out there to be seen, or you can tell that their spirit ain't in the right place. Like, they not doing it for the reasons that they should be doing it. And so we most definitely have to look out for these cameras, man. And we have to conduct ourselves in a particular kind of way because we got to keep it 100. At the end of the day, I'm going to tell you, I don't care how bad or how tough any of us are or think that we are. You know what I'm saying? You ain't got to be no punk. You can handle your business. But I'm going to tell you, if we make a mistake and try to jumpstart something before it's the Messiah's time, let's remember, we can't take the place of the Mashiach. That's Jesus Christ's job to come back and do some, kick some teeth in. And he going to do it. I don't know nobody. I know some killers in my life. I don't know no killer colder than Christ. So we better be careful and not try to usurp him, because then you're going to wind up getting worse than the enemies that sword was aimed at in the first place. So with that, I'd like to yield and let the next brother speak.
All right, B.A., you back there, B.A.?
Yo, man, thanks, Mikha'el. Powerful words. All right, Anonymous Hebrew, you still on, my brother?
Yeah, I'm here.
All right, my brother. When it comes to religious entertainers, man, expound, man. I don't know you personally, but man, I don't know if you ever dealt with the religious entertainment, but please, if you have, expound, my brother.
Yeah. So I stay right around the corner from Creflo Hollow Club, and I don't get me started, but we ride by there and see that whole parking lot full, and it's huge, man. So I done dealt with them. I was a minister, you know what I'm saying? I was a youth pastor, an associate pastor. I done did all that, walked away from it even before I woke up. So, but before I get into that, I'm going to deal with this Sakari thing real quick, just because I wanted to be known just where that's coming from, because we talking about healing and coping, right? So part of our process, when we come into this and we come into truth, we got to really tap in with the Holy Spirit or with the Ruach, because you got to remove all of this anger and hatred. I know what the enemy has done to us, but in order for us to really become the people that we're going to be, we got to remove the hatred. And so what you're seeing is people that are angry and hateful and don't know how to express it. So you're in a position of power now, right? You got this unsuspecting white cat that just, he's just trying to do right in his spirit, want to feel better about himself. And they taking advantage of that. That's the same thing that we read about, like in 2 Peter, when you're talking about they basically making merchandise of it, like they greedy. Like you can be greedy in more ways than one. So when you're dealing with, and I guess that tie into these religious fanatics, like these false prophets that we see on TV. When you're dealing with all of these big time preachers and all of these cats that want to be on TV, and one of them even wrote me and offered me a position at their church. Like I don't want to put dudes out there, but
wow.
What you're dealing with is either dealing, yeah, bro. Like I'll talk to y'all about that offline. Like it's wild. But when you're dealing with these people, right, what you're dealing with is either people that are lost, or they literally don't know, and they just going with what they see. So now that ties into what social media is, right? We living in a world where people literally doing whatever they got to do to get money. So for a lot of these people, social media is money, because they feel like if I get my views up, I get my likes up, I can translate that into dollars, right? I can take that somehow and translate that into dollars, whatever you're trying to do. So the first part of that is the money part. People will do whatever they got to do that they feel is okay to feed their family. So, and that's horrible, right? So this is why we got to become wiser as a nation. The other part of that is, and this is something we really need to remember, we at war, right? So this is a tool that has been put out there and is being misappropriated, misused by the enemy, right, by the adversary. So as us, we're supposed to look at all of this stuff as tools that we can use for the Most High, right? So like when you was dealing with Esther, and she was in a position where she could go to the king and set things right, Mordecai let her know, like, basically, if you don't do this, right, if you don't do it, it may not get done, or they got to wait longer for it to get done, right? It's our time, right? Not saying, kick off and go kick indoors, because, I'm from the military, but I'm going to tell y'all, we ain't got enough guns and nothing to win that fight right now. Guns, knowledge, none of that, bro. You ain't dealing with drones. They got dog drones. They got people drones, right? I've been on missions where you got this thing that's a mechanical dog holding all your weight. So now I ain't even got to get tired. So I can just shoot and bucket you all day long. Call in a drone, drop a bomb, and be gone. Like, that's how this thing works now. So we really have to understand the supernatural tapping that we need to do. So when you're dealing with this whole social media thing, right? This whole thing, for me, it's a blessing and a curse, right? So, especially when I'm dealing with my family members and people that I'm trying to bring into this, I won't get on social media and just air them out, right? That's not how you do it. You lose your brother that way. But when I see, especially my little cousins, when they getting out of line, or my little nephews, right, I call them up, and they know, like, yo, I don't want to deal with, and I ain't gonna say, well, I don't want to deal with him, because he'll show up and get down with us, right? And that's how I treat my family, because my family knows, like, look, this is not how we get down. This is not how we act. And that's what you got to do. You got to build relationships with these young brothers, so where you can come to them in a place of honesty and say, that's not how we get down. That's not how we act. That's how we fix Israel. In terms of these people out here that either are Israel or are not, and just lost or are evil, we just need to step our game up. And this is why I'm so humbled to be on the phone with what I consider to be titans in this, because all of you brothers have helped me sharpen my sword to this point. Not saying I got to figure it out. Like when Paul says, we're pressing towards the mark. We need to continue to press. We're going to press till we die. But as we grow into this sanctification, as we grow into this, we don't got to be afraid, because we're not going to step out of line. We're going to always operate in the ruach if we take our time. And we can set the course straight. It's always going to be evil, and it's always going to be good, right? Daniel even talks about this thing is just going to keep going cyclical, and as evil abound, more good is going to abound. That's basically what we're going to see. So it's just our time to be the light. Like I don't panic, right? So when I see, like I've been fighting all my life. So I said it's a war, and I'm happy for it. I'm happy to wake up. Only thing I regret is that it took me so long to listen to the Holy Spirit pulling on me, saying, "Come read this. Come listen to what these people are saying." I could have been on this fight, a long time ago. It's the only thing I regret. So we don't. In terms of what Sister Ashanti was talking about, and by the way, that's a powerful sister. Yeah. That is a very powerful sister, and all of our sisters that we are starting to hear and speak out, we can learn a lot from them. But when she's asking, like, what are you guys going to do, or how do we handle this as a man, a lot of that is on us, right? We need to build relationships with these young brothers so we can step to them and pull them, by the fringes and say, listen, this is not the way that we get down, right? We don't make people kiss our boots. And if you just now coming into this, you don't, certain ways you don't carry yourself. There's an old, and I'll leave y'all with this. I say her name because she passed. It was one of my closest people back when I was in the Sunday church. A lady named Sister Lewis, and sweet, beautiful lady, beat cancer, all kind of stuff. Gave credit to the Most High, and then she passed. But before she passed, she called a lot of us, the young ministers, in, and she said, listen, I know y'all just, getting your feet wet and you're learning everything and you're going to stumble. But she said you got to remember that the only Bible that some people are going to see is you. Right, and when you think about that, it becomes powerful, because a lot of these people don't got enough sense to even pick up the book. So the only thing they're going to see is us. So in that respect, social media is a blessing. Even I need to step my game up, especially need to step my game up and show how we get down, how we live, and how we should go about properly operating in Torah. Because if we understand what's going on in Deuteronomy, that's part of what we need to do while we're in captivity, is come back to Torah. And as we come back to Torah, we'll shine for the entire world to see. Right? And so instead of just from a different perspective, from our perspective, if we got to fight, then we're gonna fight, and we're gonna fight in the way that the Most High tells us to fight. And the way that we do that is how we carry ourselves. So we view social media as a tool, and we carry ourselves properly. We build relationships with these young brothers. We can, like I said, snatch them and say, listen, that's not how we get down. That's all I got.
Man, thank you, Brother Anonymous Hebrew. Most definitely, man, before we get off this line, man, I'm going to have to connect with you, man, because I most definitely want to network with you and collab and bring you back on the Man Up, man. Me and you can do a one-on-one on some brotherhood. And Brother Moray, man, you still around?
Yes, sir.
All right. My man, go ahead, take it away, man. Yeah, we can hear you, brother. Concerning the social media and the religious entertainment, go ahead and expound, my brother.
No doubt. Okay, again, peace and blessings to everyone in the room. You know, I look at social media and I understand the problems, but a lot of times I say, you know, social media didn't make us who we are. We're showing who we are on social media. We stop, and people now get to see from their home how we're acting in the street, the things that we're thinking on our mind that are inappropriate. You know, we get on social media and we act like we no longer have to have discretion or tact, in spite of the fact that God commanded us to be a holy people. So a lot of times I see what you brothers are talking about. I see the same things. It's like that's our brothers out there, and they're out there acting like fools. And we sitting there and we like, why are they the ones that get, you know, why does everybody know them, but they don't know the more refined, articulate, tactful Israelites that are teaching people about God and being the holy people that we're commanded to be? And I say that leads us back into this conversation about healing in toxic environments. The reason why they're teaching the way they're teaching is because they think that's an acceptable way to teach. Nobody has stopped and said and told them, nah, that's not good. You got to stop that. What would the Most High God think about you saying those things about people? Think about Abraham. Think about Isaac. Think about Jacob. Do you think they acted like that in the sight of the nations that they were amongst? And they went amongst multiple nations and multiple peoples. And Abraham was considered a prince and a judge amongst foreigners. And so a lot of times I get it. Listen, people are going to be people. We have our highs and we have our lows. We didn't come out the womb refined. Okay, that's fine. But how come we're not getting better at what we do? And at what point does it become a shame where you're borderline blaspheming the name of the Most High God? Hey, listen, I'm a man like we have men in the world, but I don't need to announce to you when I have to go to the bathroom to relieve myself. But that's what we do. We sit down and we talk about, we use vulgar language that's vulgar considered even amongst our captors. They say that's base language, and we entertain it. And so I think part of the thing is, Brother B.A., is when you talk about those entertainers and why people are entertaining. Listen, some people just want the attention. Some people are actually doing their job and teaching the lost tribes, those people who sleep in the dust of the earth, to cause them to know who they are. And then there's that point where we don't meet in the middle. This person just wants attention, we entertain them. The people who are actually teaching people that which is right, we don't encourage them enough and make sure people know about them. Why is that? And I say, that's the thing for me about social media. I warn my congregation often. Watch what you're doing. Watch what you're saying. You worried about the government following you. What about your own people who are destroying you by character assassination? Oh, he ain't no real Israelite. This is what he do. And it's true. When God commanded us to be a holy people, what was he commanding you to do? He was commanding us to be a holy people for us to observe our ways on a higher level. He was telling us, don't be like everybody else. And in turn, we're not like everybody else. There's sometimes where we're worse than other people. And you know that's an oxymoron if you call yourself a God-fearing individual, but your ways show you base. Yeah, I fear God, but this is what I do. And we out there and we act like it's nothing. And so a lot of times, too, I say, listen, social media is a great aspect. I met wonderful Israelites, wonderful people who came searching for God, who know the Most High God through this avenue. If it wasn't for social media, I wouldn't know Brother Sal and then met him the way I met him. If it wasn't for social media, I wouldn't know Brother B.A., brothers that I consider to be good brothers. So for that part, I say Baruch Hashem, blessed be the name of God. Things, and two, I stop and I see the problems that we have as a nation. And you know what? Social media didn't do that. Social media didn't tell you, go turn on your phone, start to record, act like a fool, and then upload it for everybody to see it. Facebook Live didn't say, hey, listen, open up your phone and start acting like a fool so everybody can start to tune in. Facebook didn't do that. Instagram didn't do that. Snapchat didn't do that. We did that. And I'm going to say we because we don't stop. We don't slow down. We don't halt the wrong things that we see. We don't stop and say, yo, brother, you can't do that. And this is why. Brother, there's a better way to do that. I sit down and I say, listen, everybody is not a teacher, and we don't like to hear that. Because you speak the word of God, just because God is on your heart, that doesn't make you a teacher. Every other nation in the world, you have to stop and go to school and learn to be a teacher, and you're taught how to be a teacher. And then you go and you practice what you've learned. We sit down, and anybody who march up there and say, I'm a preacher, I'm a prophet, we sit down and we listen to them for a while. You'd be like, really? Let me hear this. That's not how that works. You don't just come and say you're teaching about Israelites and you represent all of us. And now you on social media, and that's the bad part about it is we don't learn how to differentiate who our teachers are to who our teachers are not. You know, you got college. You got universities. They call it an accredited college for a reason. They call it an accredited university for a reason. You're not going to come here and just say, I went to XYZ ABC University talking about I got a master's. It just don't work out like that. At least, where's your body of work? Who have you been teaching? What have you been doing? Who has tested you on this book? We got individuals who learn 3 or 4 lines, and now all of a sudden they're teachers. We got to stop that, brothers. We got to get to a point where we stop and we go, you know, there's a thing that, you know, there's brothers attempting to represent us, and they shouldn't be representing us. Social media didn't do that. So, you know, personally, I got issues with Facebook, but not because it's Facebook. I got issues with Facebook because of what they promote as opposed to what they don't promote. You know, I sit down, I look at Instagram, and I'm on Instagram, I'm on Facebook. Trust me, and I know that they're owned by the same people. You sit down, you like, look at women I see. I see that on Instagram. But the positivity, I don't see. On Facebook, I see all the negativity. You'll suggest me to the people who just are about foolishness. But the positive things, I don't see. And so I look at the world we live in, and I sit down and I talk about media, not just social media, but media altogether, radio, TV, internet. You always depict our people in that light. Oh, look at what the Israelites are doing. And it's the negative aspects. How come they never show us feeding the hungry? How come they never show us giving out coats to the poor? Oh, wait, let me guess. Hebrew Israelites don't do that.
Right. Good point.
And so when I stop and I sit down and I look at this stuff, I'm like, yo, y'all want us to see it. They want to see us in a bad light. They want to see us yelling and screaming at one another. They want us saying, look at these people, think they talking about God, and this is what they call godly. They want that so they can continue to depict us in a negative light. But I know for a fact my brothers and sisters are doing the right thing. I know for a fact that just because you have certain sisters who are saying certain things about sexuality and being free spirits and things of that nature, our sisters aren't freaks. Our sisters aren't street women. Our sisters are humble, intelligent daughters that are seeking God also through modesty. Show them also. And so that's why I sit down and say, I'm like, yo, brothers, we control our pages. We need to write our narrative. We need to write our own books. I don't need you to tell my story. I'm living it. Let me tell my story. I don't need you to narrate it. I don't need you to explain to me what I mean. I know exactly what I mean, and I know what I said when I said it. I'm going to tell a story of my people because I understand what they're going through. You imagine Italian people telling a Chinese man's story. Oh, let me tell you what was really going down in Seoul. You'd be like, wait a second, this is weird. Where's the people from Seoul? And how come they're not talking about, how come those Chinese people aren't talking about what was going on over there? Because this is what's been going on from slavery. They've been directing our narrative. And it's time for us to change the channel. It's time for us to take that turn. It's time for us to stop and talk about the holiness of the nation. Listen, the damage is done. They already have a negative picture of who we are, the Hebrew Israelites. You can't really get no lower, so don't worry about it. The fact is that when they see you, they're already going to take affront to you. Why do you wear that beard? Why do you wear your clothes like that? Why are you going on Saturday and doing that worship thing that you do? Why do you say you don't eat this? That's the biggest thing that gets me all the time. It's like, at what point has it become offensive when you stop and say, I have dietary restrictions? Over half the country is overweight, and they admit that by their own standards. And they're not feeding us good things. We have dietary restrictions. It's like, who are you to have dietary restrictions? So brothers, sisters, listening audience, that's the part that I'm saying that we need to stop and say to ourselves, we're going to direct our narrative. We're going to stop and say what we have. Yes, social media can be bad, but social media could be good. It's the way you hold that sword. It's the way you have your gun. Your gun can protect you, and your gun can kill you. Are you foolish enough to point your gun at yourself? Or do you point your gun at your enemy? Well, when you have your social media, what are you using it for? Are you using it for the positive, or are you using it for the negative? I say, brothers, it's high time we begin to use it for the positive. And with that, I say peace and blessings to the room.
Man, thank you, brother. Appreciate your words, and I appreciate your wisdom, Moray. Most definitely, man. The social media pretty much has been good to me. All these brothers I met on social media, and I appreciate them and love them all to death. And yo, Sal, man, let's go to the callers if we got any on standby.
All right, let's go to the phone lines. We're in the overtime part of the show, so all the listeners out there, all you got to do is simply press number 1 if you want to chime in. Once again, it's the Man Up segment right here on Debate Talk for You. Send us an email, send us a shout out, let us know what you think about this show. I'm going to leave all the contacts in the description box for those who want to reach out to some of us. All right, so let's go to the callers, though. Let's go to 530-415. You're live on air.
Hello?
Hey, how you doing? You're live on air. Yep, you're on air.
Yeah, I waited so long, I almost forgot what I wanted to say. Thank you. Mm-hmm. I wanted to address the topic of how do we heal living in a toxic environment, I think it is. First and foremost, I think with that, we have to be a believer in Christ or whomever your higher power is. You have to have faith in Him and let Him guide you, take care of you. But at the same time, we also have to be able to work on ourselves first. There's nothing that we can do for anyone or with anyone until we have at least cleaned up our own. We're dealing with ourselves. You understand what I'm saying? It's like my grandmother used to always say, you need to be prayed up. So in order to try to heal in a toxic environment, we really have to work with ourselves. We have to make sure that what we're teaching, what we're saying, what we're doing is in the right way. And that's basically all I had to say. And I want to say hi to my son. Hi, Barry. I love you. I think you're doing a good job. And good night, gentlemen.
Who's Barry? Who's Barry?
That's BBA, man. That's good, everybody. That's my
all right.
Thanks for calling my name. Thank you very much.
We got you. We appreciate your call. Nobody else pressed number 1 at this time, so go ahead, BA.
Wow, ain't that something, man? I'm manning up to that. That's my name, everybody. You won't hear me say it. But, man, since we got a few more minutes, I want to go down the line and have everybody with their closing statements. And before we do that, once again, I thank and I appreciate all the brothers for coming on. I know everybody has busy schedules. I know we all work for a living, and we have children, and we have our own lives and other things that we have to prioritize. So once again, brothers, I appreciate you and I thank you. And we're going to start it with, let's see. Let's go with Brother Mikha'el, closing statements, and we're going to get ready to fall back.
All right, for sure. First of all, I'd like to repeat my sentiment from earlier that I thank all of y'all humbly for even thinking of me, little old me, to throw me on this panel with these wise brothers. And, of course, I love my brother Sal, man. He got, like, one of the most professional platforms out there on social media today. And it's clean. It's clean, you know, it ain't a whole bunch of F-bombs and all that stuff being dropped. So you can actually come to Debate Talk for You and let the children, let the youngins, let the baby brews sit in the room and the old ancient brews, and they won't be disgusted and spit their false teeth out of something for some of the language that you hear on some of these shows. So it's a family clean show, so you can actually use it to edify the people. Okay, enough buttering everybody up. I got to go out like this. I got to say, man, it was an excellent show. I give all honor and praise to the Elohim of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob in the name of his son, Jesus Christ, our Mashiach, is you. And I'd just like to say to everybody that's listening, man, as Israelites in particular, and I'm glad my brother B.A. put this show together because I listen to the sisters sometimes. And, you know, we used to seeing a brother's perspective. And as much as we should, being that black man has to some degree been silenced in this world when it comes to wisdom. The black man is only speaking foolishness right now, and I'm using that term generically, black man. But the Israelite man, the Hebrew man, the Hebrew Israelite man has been silenced for centuries. And now, you know, it's the powers that be don't want this thing to come out. They can't stop it. It's a snowball effect. You know what I'm saying? It started as a pebble, and now it's a big avalanche, and it's coming down that hill. So we have to make sure we counter all the nonsense that's going on in the hip-hop industry. Everybody gay. I mean, everybody gay. I mean, and the cats that ain't gay is like half retarded. And to be quite honest with you, I can't talk down on them because I came from that exact same thing. And so we have to counter that with wisdom, man. We got to cuff these brothers up out there on the street. Don't be scared of them. I mean, in the end of the day, especially if you're a man of God, I will never understand why are you scared. What are you scared of? I thought the Lord said he was our shield and buckler. So you scared of your own little brothers out there? You scared of your kids out there, your nephews out there? Go out there and don't hold on to his knowledge, wisdom, and understanding that the Most High gave you. You're supposed to share it, because if you go, it's the parable about the parable that Jesus threw out there about the seed, man. I love it because he actually gives you a statistical number when you go back and read it. You know what I'm saying? He said he could throw some seeds down, they fall on stony ground. And y'all know the story. Y'all go back and read it. But when you read it, you'll notice he basically tell you 3 out of 4 ain't going to take to it. But that one out of 4, them odds ain't bad. So if you got 8 dudes standing on the corner, and I know at least in the Shire and the other cities, it's probably 3 guns out there between them 8 people. But besides the point, if they out there on the corner, it's 8 of them, and you go out there, and them brothers probably respect you because they know you in the hood, so they want to rap with you for a hot second about, world stuff, drop a little pearl on them. Because the chances are, according to the master teacher Jesus Christ, our high priest, he say, basically, when you go back and look at it, it was either 3 out of 4 or it was 3 out of 4 or 4 out of 5, but I believe it was 3 out of 4. If you go and you look and break it down, 2 of them 8, you might change their life and put them on a new path, man. And just know that it ain't about being no punk. Take care of yourself. Train yourself out there, brothers. You know what I'm saying? Because you got to be able, because the strong, man, if you buying the book, tell us, man, if you want to destroy a house, you buying up the strong, man. So y'all learn how we got to take care of our families, man. You know what I'm saying? Do whatever you got to do to take care of your families and yours. And it starts with this, and I'm going to end mine with this, with the prophet Jeremiah. This is a direct instruction on how to behave ourselves when we are in exile, as we find ourselves today in this Western Hemisphere. It says, Jeremiah chapter 29, verse 4, thus saith the Lord of hosts, the God of Israel, unto all that are carried away captives, whom I have caused to be carried away from Jerusalem unto Babylon. He said, who I have called. The Most High called us to be carried away because of the transgressions of our forefathers. So when we get carried away, in this case it was Babylon, but hey, we over here in Mystery Babylon, this whole system. So let's see what it tells us. Verse 5, build ye houses and dwell in them, and plant gardens and eat the fruit of them. So yeah, man, if God make it possible for you to get you some land or whatever, or even if you just renting, but if you get you some land, definitely, man, some property, build you a house, get you some stuff that's yours, right? You know what I'm saying? Inside of this Gentile system, this captivity. Make you a little bitty heaven, man, that's based on the law, statutes, and commandments. And it say, and plant gardens and eat the fruit of them. You know, we got to go back to, try to eat our own food, man. Because like the brothers in them were saying earlier, man, like the book say, we would eat the foul bread amongst the Gentiles. So instead of trying to trust them, you got to read the back of everything. I don't care if it say beef, if it say lamb. You got to read the small print because they just sneaking swine off in everything. If they could, they'll sneak swine in the air. So grow your own gardens. Make your own produce. Verse 6, take ye wives and begot sons and daughters, and take wives for your sons, and give your daughters to husbands, that they may bear sons and daughters. So we got to get back to them morals and principles. Don't be telling your sons or daughters just go out there and get you a nice little boyfriend, a nice little girlfriend, man. Hire your children geared towards being husbands and wives. It's something common sense said a long time ago. He said, it's too many baby mamas, but not enough wives. So we got to start putting that back in the air. You know what I'm saying? It says, that ye may be increased there and not diminished. That's key. Why did the Most High say that? Because he know all the little plots and plans with the stuff, the chemicals they putting in the water. Man, if y'all out there still smoking weed and stuff on the corner, ain't no telling what's in that. It might not be the weed of the days of old. You know what I'm saying? You taking a chance on even doing that. You know what I'm saying? Everything, the water, it got so much estrogen in it, you might wake up with man boobs. So, you have to know that on a serious note, they do try to come up with plans to eradicate us. We got more abortion clinics in the black community, literally in America, than any other place on the planet Earth. But guess what? The Most High knows it. So you just got to follow the guidelines that He told you when you go into exile, bury them kids, promote marriage, try to get your own stuff, live peaceably. And here go the key part right here. And seek the peace of the city, whether I have caused you to be carried away captives, and pray unto the Lord for it. For in the peace thereof shall you have peace. So we supposed to be literally looking for peace while we in this captivity. You know what I'm saying? That's why I don't promote going out there throwing beer bottles at police cars and all that type of stuff. You know what I'm saying? Telling them, I can't wait because I'm going to cut y'all head off and throw it in a jewels bag and in the garbage can. Look, all that don't need not even be said. If our goal is to wake our people up. But we supposed to be seeking peace. Well, let's say if you look for peace, that's what the Most High going to bring you peace. And I know damn sure our communities need peace. The way our brothers is blowing each other heads off, and when we ain't blowing each other heads off, you know what I'm saying, the Gentiles, the heathens, the other nations is blowing us down. You know what I'm saying? So with that, man, I just like to say for Israel out there, man, it's much bigger than us. It's good to know we Israel, but with great responsibility, you know what I'm saying? I mean, excuse me, with this great position comes, great responsibility. And so with that, man, I said we all got to turn back to the Most High. Thank y'all for having me on here. And, subscribe to my Hebrews in the Hood channel. You can try my Mikha'el channel on Facebook, Mikha'el Ben Yesharon, Israel. I'm on Instagram, but I never go on there. So yeah, man, Walls of Jericho in the building, man. Shalom, shalom. Peace.
All right, thank you, brother. I appreciate you, Mikha'el. And just remember, brothers, we only got a few minutes left. Closing, try to be as brief as possible. We're going to go to the next brother down the line. Yo, Zadok, my man, you can take it away.
Well, all blessings to the Most High. I just appreciate the opportunity to come on. And it's always good to hear how other people are thinking and, get a glimpse of what others might be saying in the circles that they run in when it comes to these topics. So I appreciate the brothers giving their time as well. I'm just going to quote, man, what Paul wrote to the brethren, man, in Philippians chapter 4 and verse 8. He said, finally, brethren, whatsoever things are true, whatsoever things are honest, whatsoever things are just, whatsoever things are pure, whatsoever things are lovely, whatsoever things are of good report, if there be any virtue and if there be any praise, think on these things. So y'all heard that list. We're dealing with this toxic environment of sin that we've grown up in. Some of it is systemic, There are some things that we find ourselves dealing with and accepting and being normal to us because of the systemic oppressive measures that are on the poor masses of the earth. Not just us, but the poor masses of the earth. But then there's also that self-inflicted toxicity, which comes from our own selfish desire, our own impulses that we give into, the things we've done that have hurt people. The system is one thing, but I'm going to tell you this, the system ain't caused me to touch another man's wife because of my own lust. You feel what I'm saying? So all I can tell you all is the environment that we find ourselves in will determine a lot of the things that will shows itself in us, because man is made to be an interdependent creature. So I truly believe that, just as Yeshua had said rightly, he said, if you have fed or clothed or have given aid when one of these my brethren was thirsty, you did that unto me. So Yeshua was making himself as one with his brethren, showing that there's a symbiotic relationship, that there's an interdependency, and that when you've done good to my brother, you did good to me. When you've done evil to my brother, you've done evil to me. So if we want to wonder how is it that we get closer to God, we ask God, do this, do that. God uses this man he made. That's why in all the visions of the prophets, He always showed himself in the form of a man. Even though he isn't a man, he's the invisible God. And there is no form you can make that really points out who he is, as he said in his Torah. But yet, in visions, he would show himself in the form of man, showing the conduit through which he's going to prove his care. You know, I'll end it with this, y'all. We can't see air unless something is tangibly affected by it. If something rusts, we know that the air can cause the oxidation with the moisture or the lack thereof in it. If the wind comes through the air and the leaves blow and you know, you feel it on your face, that's how you know it's there. Something has to tangibly be seen in order to prove that the invisible is there. So let's not just talk about our God in the invisible sense, but also let us understand that our God has projected himself in the tangible results that we will find in true brotherhood and in true sisterhood, and they could be the conduits through which he starts to show us how to stay detoxified from this toxic environment of sin. I thank you, brothers, man. Sal, once again, thank you for your consistency and dedication to this platform. BA, this is a great platform. Prayerfully, I'm going to keep following this. And if you brothers need me for something, you know, just holler at me, and Lord willing, I'll do the best I can to participate and help get the word out. Shalom, shalom.
Man, thank you, Zadok. I appreciate you. And just to say, Zadok is an older brother in the faith, and he's my teacher, one of my teachers, and I appreciate the brother. Most definitely one of the most humble brothers I know. All right, my man, brother Anonymous Hebrew, you want to close out? But brothers, and do keep in mind we have 10 minutes left on the air, so please keep in mind, try to be as brief as possible so we can give everybody a chance to have closing statements. We got less than 10 minutes. Go ahead, Anonymous Hebrew, my brother.
Yeah, no problem. I'll be real brief. I just want to say thank you for having me. I'm nowhere near in terms of timing in service at the level of these other brothers, and so it's just a blessing to be here and be able to just contribute something, you know, from a newer perspective in terms of time in the truth. I'll just quickly, I don't know, a couple things. Brother Mikha'el is correct. Watch what you've eaten. Watch what you're feeding your kids, even your fruit snacks. You know, once we found out it was gelatin and swine in our kids' fruit snacks, we had to change up the fruit snacks. Let me see. I made a couple notes. In terms of the government, and this is very important. If, you know, we know the government watches and listens to everything we do, but if we move back to Torah, that really won't matter, right? If we are focusing more on trying to be the people that we need to be, we have no fear of anything. Just follow our Torah. Also, get in where you fit in when it comes to witnessing to people. Like if you see brothers on the street and you know you ain't never hung out with brothers on the street, you probably don't want to walk up to that group of brothers. But if you know you come from that, if you cut from that cloth, you can step up and get these brothers some pearls. You know, witness to, or I should say, shed light to those that are in areas where you are familiar with. And then finally, because I don't want to be long, I won't read them, but I'll just give you Deuteronomy 30:1-3, right? And if we understand this, that it's our job to wake up in our captivity and bring these things to the remembrance of the nations, and then also continue to grow in Torah, and then the Most High promise that He will return and turn our captivity. I ain't going to argue about whether you believe the return is a physical or spiritual return. One thing we know for sure, though, if we keep in Torah, whatever the return looks like, it will be Torah-based. It will be Most High approved. So with that, shalom and love to everybody. All praise the Most High.
Man, thank you, my brother, Anonymous Hebrew. Man, if you're on Facebook, look for me. I'm B.A. Ben Abraham. If you want to hit me on my YouTube channel, for those who are listening, B.A. the Student at YouTube. That's for you. That's for all who are willing, but also for you, Anonymous Hebrew. Man, we got to build. We got to most definitely get something going. All right, my man, brother. You go ahead, brother.
Real quick, I'm gonna hit you up, but then I set up a IG that say Anonymous Hebrew. I just set it up so I can contact with people. So if you up tonight, you know what I'm saying, we'll build a little bit.
Yeah, most definitely. Hit me on Instagram, B.A. the Apostle. You'll find me. I'm on there.
Got you.
All right, for sure. All right, much love to you. Appreciate you.
Appreciate you, fam.
Brother Rick, man, we got a few more minutes. Go ahead and we should close the statements, and I appreciate you, brother.
Well, thank you, Brother Sal and BA. I want to appreciate you for having me on. I've enjoyed it immensely. But to everyone else out there, I just want us to remember one key thing, and that is to let's empower each other and let's be the antidote to the toxicity in our community. It starts at home, but if we're going to save the world, or if we're going to be that light in the world, we have to start small, because a seed can lead to a large, strong tree. So let us start at home, build our family, then we build our neighborhood, then we go from our neighborhood to our city, and our city to our state, and our state to the country, and then the country to the world. So let us think big, and let us have that vision. Let us meet every man on the level that he is on, and let us bring in these people. Don't knock their spirituality or where they are. We meet them where they are, and then we bring them in to a better life and a better teaching. Okay? There's a lot of brothers that are lost in the street that are tearing our communities down. We have to meet them on that level. We have to be able to speak their language, but yet all the while we're pulling them gently towards what's right and what's going to build the nation and build our community. So with that said, blessings, my brother. Shalom. And I appreciate you for having me. We will be on, and I'll see you next time.
All right. Thank you, Brother Rick. I appreciate you, my brother. If you're on Facebook, my man, you can reach me at B.A. Ben Abraham at Facebook. And Brother Moray, we got a few more minutes. So, my brother, without further ado, go ahead and do your closing statements.
Okay, my brother. And again, peace and blessings. I ain't going to hold everybody up. I know it's late, and I'm a brother who gets up early myself. The only thing I'll say is, as we continue to build, I just want all of us to remember that in order to teach, you must be a student. And when I say you must be a student, you must be able to learn the people you are teaching and be able to bring them what they need in order that they can be receptive to your word. So as we come back as a nation, we're here to each one teach one. Everybody help each other to bring the nation back to its glory and praising the Most High God. And all of us have a piece to this puzzle. So that being understood, let's make sure that we're applying righteous principles, good principles, practicable principles that will allow us to teach people who the Most High God is and let people feel comfortable in serving God, and that as we come back as a people, they'll be receptive to our words and make the nation better and know that we can be that people that God created us to be. Hoping and praying that y'all got something out of what I said. I love this show, my brother. Keep it going, and may God continue to bless us all.
Man, thank you, Moray. I appreciate your words, my brother. A lot of wisdom. And I appreciate you, man. The Most High willing, we can continue to build. I most definitely want to work with the brother as well. And this is me, Brother B.A. I'd like to once again thank the Most High God in the name of his holy anointed messenger, known as Yeshua, the Christ, the Master Teacher, and Nazarene. Much love to all the brothers once again. Brother Sal, thank you for allowing me to come onto the platform and picking me as a host, man. I deeply appreciate it. Much love to Sister Mayana for the strong words and encouragement earlier today. Much love to Sister Yamona for being a big sister in the faith with her powerful teachings on the YouTube channel and on the Facebook videos. Much love to Sister Ashanti. Much love to my moms and everybody who called and supported. Much love to everybody who called in, who chimed in. Much love to Sister Kirsten, who helped me out with the subject matter. I appreciate her as well. And I will also say, coming up February 7th, it's going to be me and Brother Chris Harris. We're going to do a one-on-one. He's going to present a teaching, and he's going to bring some clarity to the belief of the brothers who are Torah observant and Tanakh only, because there was a couple of questions that came out that were brought to my attention. There's a lot of individuals in the community who still are not too clear on what the Torah only and Tanakh brothers actually believe. So me and Chris Harris, we decided to do a one-on-one to where he's going to present some information and a couple of scriptures. And I'm just going to ask him some questions for some clarity. This is not a debate. It's more so over two brothers fellowshipping and a little bit of a questionnaire just to bring more clarity so we can help rebuild this image of the Hebrew Israelite, because as you can see, whether it be on social media, outside of the digital world, the Hebrew Israelite is the most hated on earth right now, because we are coming back to the Most High, we are coming back to His name, and we are and a lot of people for some reason have an issue with us calling ourselves by the name of Israel. So the thing is that we're coming back and we're taking our position back as God's chosen people, and at the same time we're being a light to others and bring them into the fold of Israel and bring them into the ways of the Most High, which we understand Torah through the image of His holy anointed messenger. And with that being said, once again, much love to everybody. I appreciate you all. Much love. It's your brother B.A. Ben Abraham out of Sacramento, California. I'm gonna fall back. Take it away, Sal.